All right, welcome to MMA Dynasty. We have another episode coming at you guys in person for the first time ever. And this is the last podcast of the year, a couple days away from New Year's. And we got a lot to talk about. Jacob, how you doing?
Doing great. It's great to be here. You know, hopefully in the future we can do a lot more of these. So
yeah,
it's great in person, a lot different than on the screen, you know.
Yep,
So it's real nice. But we have tons of to talk about. To be honest, a couple of days ago I was kind of worried that there'd be like a lack of things to talk about. But then like we just came up with some sick ideas, and we've got a great podcast in store for you guys. But we wanted to start off with like this we wanted to talk a little bit about 2022, like how it was as a year as a whole, how it was for the UFC, best moments of the year, stuff like that. So as a business overall, like how do you think UFC did as a year? Because I think it could have been a lot better. You know, I think they made a lot of mistakes with pay-per-views. I think like the Nunes Pena pay-per-view, the UFC 279, the Jan versus Magomed pay-per-view. Like I think UFC could have been better in a lot of ways. They also increased the pay-per-view number, like in terms of like how much it costs to buy it. And I think like I don't know if those are necessarily the right moves to make. Yeah. But what do you think? You know, where could the UFC be better? Where is it good at?
I think that the UFC did a whole lot of the same this year, and I think that they basically, they had many great moments because, you're mentioning the pay-per-views, and although I think that the pay-per-views on average were not that successful from someone's standpoint, like let's say you take someone who's at ESPN and who just follows along sports but doesn't really know too much about the UFC. They look at these pay-per-views. For example, they might look at a pay-per-view, maybe Adesanya Pereira, and they might say, interesting, Adesanya, I know this guy, but even though the Dustin and Chandler fight is on there, even though there's some other great fights on there, the average person that like will tune into the UFC every now and then doesn't really care about like a Darren Till versus Dricus du Plessis. They don't care. So looking on the outside, the pay-per-views have exactly like. Even that was a little bit of a strange
fight. Or like
fight.
Roses Jr., the youngest fighter. Like nobody, like
no one cares about
besides
that.
Like the
besides like the hardcore
you know
fans. I mean? And what I mean is, I think this was there were lots of good pay-per-views for the hardcore fans
in fight nights.
But even some of the biggest cards of the year, where we had the biggest moments of the year, like Usman getting knocked out for the first time by Edwards, that pay-per-view from an outside perspective is weak. I'm not even going to watch that if I'm not a big UFC fan. And that's the thing. This is the first year where we hadn't had a McGregor fight. This is the first year where Conor McGregor didn't fight at all. I'm pretty sure he didn't fight in 2020, which is
he did fight in
2021, the first month of 2021.
No, he fought Cowboy.
2020
end of 20. Yeah, it was.
That was end of 2020.
It was January.
Oh yeah,
so it was like very early. It was before COVID and stuff.
So technically, this is the first year where Conor hasn't fought at all.
He didn't fight in 2019, right?
I think you're right.
So 2019 and 2022.
Yeah.
But Khabib was
still the thing is, 2019 was just bigger because it's before the pandemic, and I feel like the UFC almost reached a new height, and it kind of plateaued.
Yeah.
It got a tiny bit bigger during the pandemic because that was the only sport that was on. But in general, I feel like they've just been ticking off the boxes, filling their quotas. Granted, there have been big moments. The UFC went back to the UK. The UFC has been able to go back to another country, which is excellent, right? But outside of that UK card, where else have they been? And I understand they want to go to other countries in 2023, but the UK, that doesn't make for an amazing year. I think overall, this was a pretty average year. Most of the fight nights were still at the Apex. They had a couple good cards in Texas. The Texas card was good. And we're going to talk about some of the best cards of the year. But I think overall, no Conor, no massive cards. The biggest card on paper of the year was UFC 280 or 276, where it was Adesanya. It was Max and Volk 3. There was Sean O'Malley. But even those cards, didn't deliver that much. And I don't know how much the average casual fan is looking into this and thinking, wow, the UFC's popping. Like, I remember when I was 14 years old and I was on World Star Hip Hop surfing around. I used to go on World Star sometimes. And I saw like trash talking between John Jones and Daniel Cormier. And I thought, fuck, this is awesome. This is great. I feel like even back then they were drawing in more eyes from casual fans just based on those big rivalries. And we don't really have that at all in the UFC right now. So from a hardcore fan's perspective, they didn't really do all that much because I felt like 2021 had better fights. I think that this year overall, they had some good fights, but I don't think that 2022 was a year that's going to make the UFC grow more, and they're fucking up a lot because I think that they're making a lot of bad decisions. What do you think? I mean, what do you think the UFC
Yeah,
could have done better?
it's kind of tricky because you said there's no Conor.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these fights, like a lot of fighters didn't want to fight certain fights, like the 277. I doubt they were planning on Nunes versus Pena as the main event. 279, it was supposed to be Colby versus Chimaev. Then Colby wouldn't fight Chimaev, so it was Nate Diaz, and that whole thing. We all know what happened there. 82 was supposed to be Jones versus Stipe.
Yeah.
Stipe is nowhere to be found.
Exactly.
So
John Jones is gone. Connor's gone.
Exactly. So like, I think a lot of what happened this year was a lot of fights that should have been made, not being made for whatever reason, whether it's the UFC not paying the fighters enough for these fights, or just these fighters ducking people, and having enough money that it doesn't matter that they don't need a fight. So it's a weird thing, because I think this year could have been a lot there. Like, imagine John Jones Stipe at 282.
That would have been big.
Imagine Chimaev Colby like that.
Exactly. I mean, those are the kinds of fights that the UFC needs to really blow things up, because Chimaev, that's a guy who's starting to transcend just the UFC. I feel like casual fans may know who Khamzat Chimaev is, and they know who Colby is, and they would see the trash talk, they would see the build-up, the scuffles. I mean, that would be a big build-up. And then John Jones coming back to fight at heavyweight. John Jones is a big name that permeates into different sports, that permeates into the average person. And to be honest, I think that if you're missing moments like that, you're missing a McGregor fight, you're missing big matchups between Conor and Jones and Stipe, and you're missing Chimaev, and you're missing Francis. How big of a year can it be? And I think that honestly, if we're going to compare this year to all the other years, this was not a successful year.
No.
This was not a
2021 was
successful
way
year.
better.
2021 was better. Was a better year.
2020 was way
better
better.
cards. Yeah. And there were some good moments. I mean, Charles Oliveira submitting Justin Gaethje is my coldest moment of the year. That's the best moment of the year. That's 2022. But I think the UFC, they need to start stacking the cards a little bit more, I think. And they need to bring back their stars. They need to bring back
fighters more.
They need to pay the big guys more. I mean, listen, if the UFC can have John Jones fight at heavyweight, if they can have Khamzat Chimaev get some title fights booked, if they can have Conor McGregor come back to get a couple of wins together, they'll have the biggest year they've ever had. Unfortunately, now they have Paddy Pimblett, who's supposed to be this big star, and he'll never win against the top guy. Sean O'Malley is someone who is a promising guy. I think that was a good story that came out of this year. Sean O'Malley, I don't know if he fought really early on in the year. I don't think he did. I think he fought on that December card of 2021.
Yeah, and then he fought it in July.
Yeah. I mean, Sean O'Malley could have a good year, but it's just like you have no one with that significant star power. And what I'm saying is, if the UFC is not going to make cards and they're not going to stack them properly, I mean, they tried with the Perth card, Whitaker and Costa, and they tried with that card, and Kai Kara France pulled out of that as well. And so that card's shit now because it's just one title fight, and everything else in that card is dog shit. And they even took Pantoja or Perez, I'm sorry, and now he's not fighting on that card either. They moved him to the Texas card.
So who is?
So it's basically no man's land at the main card right now. They have to scramble to find people. That card is complete dog shit.
Got to pay Costa more money.
Yeah, and here's the thing: the UFC needs to have a better relationship with their fighters because, you have a guy like Paulo Costa who's demanding that the UFC pay him more when he literally has one fight left on his contract. And the UFC tried to renegotiate their contract. They said, listen, we'll pay you more, but we need to get something out of it too. We're a business. If we're going to pay you more, then you have to have some more fights with us. There needs to be some predictability. Like, we're not just going to pay you $500,000 and then we're going to renegotiate. We're going to pay you more, like you asked, but now you're going to fight for us some more. Mm-hmm. That's how it works.
That makes sense.
They need to tell Costa, listen, this is what you're demanding, and you realize this is why we're not going to do it. Okay, so if you want more money, you're not going to get a one-fight deal. No one else has this one-fight deal. Mm-hmm. The only guy who's maybe even capable of getting that is Conor. They need to have a better way of, interacting with their fighters, because I doubt it's not Costa just being afraid of Whitaker. I think it's just about the payment. And, I see these fight nights. They're at the Apex. The Apex is killing the sport. The Apex is not interesting.
It's the only sport that's not having that doesn't have
exactly.
Fans.
I mean, it's pathetic. It's insane. You have, basketball teams that are, under 500 and they are playing in front of fans every goddamn day. So Unacceptable. Get out of the apex. Have better relationships with fighters. Stack the cards more. Move your dominant champions into their countries. Like, we want to see Volkanovski fight in Australia. That's fantastic. But hell, put Islam in Russia. I don't know if he can go to Russia right now because there's a war. But
or Charles in Brazil.
They need to do stuff like that to grow the sport. If they're not doing this, then I think the UFC is stagnating. I think it's hit its peak. And here's the thing: the UFC is not going to get bigger because Conor McGregor is going to retire. And unless they give Conor a matchup that he's almost guaranteed to win, like a Paddy Pimblett, I think that'd be great.
It's a great matchup.
If they give him a killer and he loses,
it's over.
Congratulations. He has one more fight left in his career, and that'll be in 2 years. So after Conor leaves, there's no one that's going to be as big of a star as him. And Conor McGregor blew the sport up, and I think it's gonna stagnate. I think really that's what's happening with the UFC right now, because there aren't good signs that Jon Jones is coming back. Like, Jon Jones' comeback has been talked about for 2 years now, and nothing's come of it. Everything is stagnating, and I think that the UFC needs to really get their shit together. And I think they need some more young guns that are making the decisions, that are making the matchups, because these old guys that are running it like a mafia business, they're not doing any favors. And also, again, like, they're just fitting quotas. They're just, here's a fight night with like 2 good fights and 10 shitty fights. Main event, Holly Holm versus Ketlin Vieira, whatever. Like, we've seen those main events. We're tired of that. Let's give us some
2015.
Yeah, I'd rather them give us, a stacked fight night, a stacked pay-per-view. Only, that's it for the month, rather than shitty fight nights.
For sure. No, I agree with you on that. I think it's also like they're kind of like they're doing a lot of stuff last minute. Like, they're not prepared for these events.
Yeah, they're not prepared. And again, like, here's the issue with the Perth card. Sure, Whitaker and Costa, great fight. Kai Kara France, great fight. Yair Emmett, okay, that's still on the card. That's still on the card.
That's like an okay fight. It's an okay fight.
It's an okay fight. I completely forgot about that.
It's not hard.
It's not exactly. It's not a huge fight, and it shouldn't be a title fight to begin with. But other than that, it's no man's land. Other than that, it's no man's land. You have Parker Porter on the main card. That is a travesty. That is pathetic. It's a disgrace. And if you plan it out better, then you could have had, Jack Dalla Maddalena. You could have had Taito Ivasa if he didn't fight Sergey Pavlovich.
Exactly.
You could have had these other big names. Maybe you could even have Israel Adesanya on it. I mean, here's the thing. If I'm the UFC, I would say, hey, Izzy, like, we're gonna pay you tons of money. Just take on this easy matchup and get a knockout win on this card. I mean, why not?
Or take the hard matchup.
But then the alternative is, you know what? He's not the main event. It's going to become more like boxing. You're giving these guys tune-up matches. Mm-hmm. Then the big stars are going to start to say, I just want to take easy fights for the money.
Colby.
That's the dangerous side of giving a guy like Conor McGregor easy matchups, is then other fighters that are big can just say, I want the easy matchups. I'll get paid the same.
I don't know if Conor would be a good example, because I think Conor could kind of do it.
Connor's different.
Israel.
Yeah.
Like, giving Israel an easy matchup, I think would really stir some people the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I also think that, this Perth card, the Brazil card, was not prepared for at all.
The Brazil card is also not very good.
They came up on it was on the fly, like, deciding to put the Jamal Hill versus Glover Teixeira.
And here's the thing, for hardcore fans, like, we're excited for Jamal Hill, Glover Teixeira. We want to see the Brazil card. We're going to watch it. But that is not a card that's going to grow the sport. That is a card that's going to do absolutely fuck all for the sport. It won't do anything. It's not going to grow. And if you have one of those every month, and that's what the pay-per-views are, I'm sorry, but the UFC is not growing anymore. It's not.
The last 2 pay-per-views.
Yeah. It's not growing.
282 and 283.
It seems like it's dying, to be honest. I mean, you need guys like Conor. You need guys like O'Malley and Hamzat. And I just don't know if those guys are going to be able to get on that same level.
The problem is nobody wants to fight Hamzat.
No one wants to fight Hamzat,
Which is so stupid. Like, you're a fighter. Like, just fight. Take the tough fights. Conor always took tough fights.
Exactly.
He's the richest guy in the UFC. Like, he didn't need to come back to fight Khabib, the best fighter in the world at the time.
He did not.
But he still did.
And exactly.
why are people not fighting Chimaev? Like, I don't.
They
I don't
need
know
to
if
give Chimaev a title shot. I think Leon Edwards turned him down. So, guys, apparently, Hamza Chimaev came out today and he said that 4 people had turned him down. I guarantee you one of those is Leon Edwards, because, again, there's a rumor that Kamaru's not going to be ready. They haven't made the main event official for the UK card, which is supposed to be Usman and Edwards. And that leads me to believe that, well, if they haven't made that official, then there must be an issue with Usman. And in that case, they would give it to Khamzat. The UFC likes Khamzat.
They do.
They like Khamzat. They put him in as a main event. They love Khamzat.
They love him. They wanted him to fight Nate Diaz.
They recognize he's a big star. Exactly. They wanted to set him up to get that stardom. And here's the thing, like, I think Leon Edwards is turning that fight down.
You think he is?
I don't know
What
if
do you think he's saying, though? But he tried fighting him already.
Are champions allowed to? You're right. You're right. That's true.
But it may be different now that he's a champion.
Yeah, but I mean, when Woodley was champion, he used to say, "I don't want to fight this guy," and they made him fight him anyway. So I don't know if champions are allowed to do that.
You can't completely turn down a fight, but you could postpone it. You could not sign the contract.
Yeah.
They won't give you any other contract. That's what they'll be like.
Yeah.
So you can like postpone it. You could be like what Aljo's doing, like just try to get more money from it. Like so you could just not sign it.
Yeah, I don't think maybe it's not Leon because I feel like.
No, I think it is Leon.
I don't think he has.
No, I do think it's Leon.
But then he's not going to fight in the UK card.
That is true. I think he's probably complaining. He's like why can't why can't it be Masvidal? That's probably what he's thinking. Like why can't it be Colby? Like
Masvidal, man.
Like because maybe he got the champion to his head.
Yeah,
like, maybe he's carrying around the belt. He's like, this is a nice feeling. Like I don't want to lose the belt anytime soon.
Yeah, of course.
So he just is trying to avoid Chimaev. But no, I hope it's got to be Leon. I think the other guy's got to be Colby, and then who would be the other two guys? It'd be Pereira and Izzy. I think that's generally what it is. Or Costa. Whitaker.
I don't know. I mean, you could give Whitaker that fight. Listen.
That's a great fight.
Because Whitaker, he's not. It wouldn't be on short notice. That would be in February.
But
I don't know, man. That's the thing.
But he wants to win the bout at 70 first. And you have a clear path.
And that's the thing for Khamzat. It's like, why would you fight Whitaker if you want to? Well, he's saying he wants to fight anyone.
But like
those are the toughest matchups for both. Whitaker's toughest matchup is Khamzat, and Khamzat's toughest matchup is Whitaker.
Yeah.
So that would be a crazy fight.
That's not a fight you make right now.
I don't think
that's a fight you make down the road, 2 years from now.
I think Whitaker's going to be champ, bro. I really do. I think that by the time that this year's all said and done, he'll be that 185-pound champ.
You really think
if Khamzat doesn't move up, yeah.
I think Khamzat will move up at that point.
Just give him a fight, man. Here's the thing. It's like.
It's gonna be
talk about Shavkat Rakhmonov. The Shavkat Rakhmonov was like not even ranked by the time Khamzat had like fought Burns or something, and now he's in the top of the rankings.
Top 7 soon in January.
Exactly. Like I feel like that dude's gonna get a title shot before Khamzat, and
at the 70-pound division.
It's unacceptable.
Nobody wants to fight Chimaev. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And like I think it's gonna end up being Leon. They gotta do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how, like you said, like champions can't turn down these fights. So I just think it's gonna be a matter of time before Leon agrees. They may need to pay him a lot of money for it, but he's gonna agree, and then Chimaev's gonna smoke him in front of the UK crowd.
Exactly. I think that they need to do something about that card and
the UK.
Yeah, I think depending on what the UFC does about Perth, that shows me whether or not they know how to grow a sport, because I get the feel that they're not going to do anything about it. They're just going to have the main event, the co-main event, the 2 title shots, 2 title fights to sell the card, and every other thing is on that card is going to be trash.
Yeah. If they don't pay Costa, it's going to be so stupid.
This is supposed to be like this one of the best cards, and it's just pathetic, man.
In the Brazil card, they only did the Jamal Hill versus Glover to make money. That's the only reason why they made it, just to make money. They saw how bad 282 did.
Sandhagen and Marlon Vera were just made, and I know that's like a good main event fight, but they made that for the Apex.
Like why don't you
get rid of the Apex? Like
it's the only sport that has
exactly
fights that without.
Would you rather see that on the Apex main event, or would you rather see a 5-round feature fight on the Perth card?
Dude, could you do that?
Yes, man. They've done 5-round feature fights
for
before.
Nate Diaz.
Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, they did a co-main event for RDA. Remember, RDA was supposed to fight Islam in 5 rounds.
Yeah. And then you were supposed to fight Fiziev.
And then they subbed in Moicano. So they could do a feature fight. I mean, what? You can't do a feature fight if you don't.
They also did Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz.
Leon. So they could do it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So that
was a feature fight. Exactly.
That would be so much better.
It'd be so much better.
Yeah, we don't want to see that at the Ape. That's gonna be so shitty at the Apex. Like, the more you think about it, like just like that amazing fight being at the Apex. Like, what the hell? Like,
I know.
That's gonna be a banger.
Yeah, and you had Marlon Vera versus Dominic Cruz, the Apex.
No, that was at San Diego.
San Diego. That's
you had perfect. That was great.
You had that in front of fans. They've done, guys in the Colorado area like Corey Sandhagen in Colorado. Put a Colorado card on.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, the Apex. Dana White's gone on record saying, no one wants to get back to work. The pandemic has people not wanting to go back to work.
And only him.
But like, you're the one who's not going back to work. I mean, the UFC for 20 years went around the nation.
Never did this Apex.
Never did this bullshit. I mean,
they're the lazy ones.
I think the fans are tired of it. The thing is, when it's the pandemic and nothing's going on outside, and it's the only thing that's going on, it's a good feel because you feel like, it's like, this is new, this is interesting, but it defeats the purpose. The Apex defeats the purpose, and it's insane. Like we want to see fights in front of crowds. It just feels a lot better that way.
It's better. When you see a knockout, it's so much better. Like a knockout at the Apex sucks. You know what I mean? Like,
a knockout at the Apex.
Imagine if Chito Vera knocks out Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna suck at the Apex. Which is such a big moment.
It's insane.
Apex. Like, yeah, no,
I think
that's
they should have less cards and just stack them. Like stack them
way better. It all comes down to paying the fighters more. That's what it all comes down to. You know, if you pay Costa more, I'm telling you, he would agree to 300K. He would. If you told him 300K.
Oh yeah. But I don't think they were. I don't think they were going to offer him.
Well,
why
can't you offer Costa 300K? Like why can't you? Like he's a big guy. Like, people like him.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing.
You save the card, you end up selling more pay-per-views.
It's because they're ran by guys with big egos that are egomaniacs that don't want to let anyone get in the way of the way they want to do things. You know, my way or the highway. That's how these old men at the UFC operate. And again, you know, these kinds of principles that they've had, you know, by saying we're not going to let anyone boss us around, that's what is going to be their downfall because they like doing things the way they want to do it. And essentially the right thing to do would be, okay, pay Paulo Costa, even if it's his last UFC fight. Who gives a fuck? It's a big fight against Whitaker. This is big for Whitaker. It's big that Whitaker is on that card. It's big that there's a good middleweight fight on that card to make it even more stacked. We'll benefit from it more because if you have more moments like that throughout the year, more stack cards like that throughout the year, more people are going to like the UFC. Exactly.
Yeah, and it's like not even like a lot. Like it's not crazy for Dana White to pay a guy 300K. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing for him. You know, and a guy like Paulo Costa's one of the guys who I think they would want to pay like that kind of money for, who deserves that kind of money. Like people like him. He's funny.
You are forgetting one thing. Remember what happened with Costa last year at the fight night where he fucked everyone over and he almost had the main.
That is true, but
the UFC, you know,
like moments like
walked on glass so that they basically crawled so that Costa could fight. They did everything that cost.
But then he made weight against Rockhold, and he made it a great fight.
Sure,
he always puts on great fights. Costa.
He always puts on great fights.
Always.
I'll give him that.
Same with Whitaker. Whitaker and Costa always put on great fights.
That's true.
So to take this fight off is really hurting the sport. You know,
it is hurting the sport.
For people who've never watched UFC, like you'd want to show them Paulo Costa versus Yoel Romero.
Oh yeah,
like, that's a fight you want to show them.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to show them like Whitaker versus like anybody. You know, like these guys are just like so entertaining.
Yeah.
So to like miss that opportunity is just terrible. And Whitaker and his home crowd, like, you're gonna miss that opportunity. You know, like he like. Yeah, I feel bad for Whitaker. And I mean, both those guys, like I truly feel bad for them. Volk Islam's a great fight. Yair versus Emmett, first of all, it shouldn't be a title fight. That's like that should be like the headliner of a prelims, you know, of the pay-per-view. But they're making a title fight, so
yeah. I mean, to be honest, like that's the kind of fight that should be, you know,
headliner.
That should be like the feature fight, you know, but without a title.
Dude, I don't even if it wasn't for a title, I don't even know.
I mean, Yair's a big name. Emmett is a relatively big name in that division.
I mean, I think it could be like a fight night headliner. That's what it should be.
But here's the thing with that. The issue with the fight night headliner is when they make those fight night headliners.
That should be at
the Apex. Yeah, for sure. And the issue with that is like, you know, when they make these fight night headliners, that gives them an excuse. Oh, we have a big fight as a headliner now. We'll just understack the card. Yeah. And so Marlon Vera and Corey Sandhagen will be the main event, but you know, there's going to be two other good fights.
Why don't they slide that on the Perth card? Imagine, even if it's 3 rounds, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing.
It is better than nothing. It is better than nothing. That's what I'm saying.
Or put Shavkat Rakhmonov on it. Like that's what I don't understand. It's like
they made that a co-main event. Like fuck the Gastelum Imavov card. Just take all of those guys and put them on the Perth card. All right, so we have big fights, and then take everyone that was on like the prelims of the Perth card and just
put them in there.
Kick them out.
Like I don't
get him out. Like get him on.
A guy like
get him on.
Why are like these random? There's always these random fight nights. Like these, it's just makes no like Jamal Hill versus Anthony Smith. Why in the first place that couldn't have been on the Brazil card?
Yeah.
Why couldn't that been on the Perth card?
I mean, you want to sell pay-per-views, stack them.
Exactly.
Because even if you do put Shavkat Rakhmonov on this pay-per-view and you put Gastelum and Imavov and Corey Sandhagen, I mean, that's not going to grow the sport, and that's the issue. Is you need to have big stars. You need to have big stars.
Big pay-per-view events. That's all.
Big pay-per-view events.
I'm telling. They're trying to spread stuff out too much.
Yeah.
And you can't do that when you don't have big stars now.
Yeah.
You just can't get away with it. And I think like we would settle with these bad fight nights to have these great pay-per-views. I think anyone would settle for that. You know what I mean? So like, the UFC's got to do it. I don't think they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna continue to be like stubborn and like whatever. Oh, we're the UFC. We're gonna sell regardless. That's why they made the pay-per-view price higher. Like, oh, we're the UFC. Why not? You know, we'll make more money. You notice last year they also made it higher.
Yeah.
So they made it from 70 to 75 last for 2022.
And then it's
now
79.
it's 79 now.
It's pathetic.
I think what
For a worse product.
I think what they're also thinking is that they're like, oh, people are gonna stream it regardless, so we might as well make like more money. But I don't even think you make.
But that's just again deterring people from buying it. If I'm the UFC, I mean, clearly I don't even know. I mean, I'd like to say, well, it's the UFC, a big business. Of course, they're going to come up with the number that sells the most. But I mean,
if you sell for 50,
sell it for 49.
Oh, dude,
people will buy it.
How much more they would sell?
Yeah.
Imagine
sell it for $20.
I don't know about 20.
Yeah, maybe not
I think
20.
50.
$50.
50 is perfect. I think you do $50. Imagine how much Islam vs Charles would have sold.
It used to be $59.99.
But imagine how much Islam vs Charles would sell.
Oh yeah, that'd sell.
Dude, that would sell over 1 million pay-per-views.
Oh yeah,
without a doubt. And then the UFC would end up making more money. So
Yeah.
what are they doing? Like that's what I don't understand. Like I think that's their downfall. Like you said, it's these old guys they're outdated.
Yeah,
that's what it is. They're outdated. You know what I mean? Like they need young guys like us to like run it, to like really like
They do.
to really like actually like
I mean, listen,
make the fights to run it properly. You know what I mean? Like it's the new generation.
Yeah.
Like these guys running the organization. Like it may would have worked in the 2000s, but now it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, they see Gastelum and they just remember, oh, we had Gastelum in the title fight. We had Gastelum, doing big fights, and they just think, oh, he's still a big star. No one gives a shit about Kelvin Gastelum anymore. No. And the truth is, you need new people in the UFC, working for the UFC, who care about the UFC, who are actually fans. And I know that people could say, you have no idea how a business is run. For sure. There are all these X's and O's that I don't know about. But I know how to make fights. And, I'm telling you, I know that some of these fighters might be hard to negotiate with, but you have to be willing to give some money to get some back. And I feel like a lot of these guys that are working higher up in the UFC are just content with the success of the company. Yeah. And so they're not really trying to...
It doesn't make a difference for them. They're making regardless.
They're making money. So that's
It's just the fighters who aren't making enough. You know what I mean? And it's the fans who aren't satisfied either.
Yeah. And you don't want to pay the fighters too much, because then, I mean, it's fighting. Like, some of these guys, if they're paid a lot, then they'll turn into Jorge Masvidal.
Or Colby.
I mean, that's the thing.
Or McGregor.
But McGregor is...
It's a little different. But
if most guys get McGregor money, they're never fighting again.
So, yeah, that's fair.
So
I want to ask, though, like, for the people who are like, oh, you can't run a business, stuff like that, you guys are just, like, fans, whatever.
What's so hard about, like...
I want to like, say, like, what are the top 5 things we would do if we were in the UFC? And you guys could let us know if you like those things. Yeah. So what I'll start. I mean, first thing I would do is I would lower the pay-per-view to $50. I think they would sell way more pay-per-views. I think less people would stream the fights, and so that's the first thing I would do. What about you?
Yeah, I think adding on to that, number 2, I'd say, is having less fight nights and getting them out of the Apex. No more Apex, never again. Only time you can use the Apex is for Dana White Contender Series, things like that. Maybe the Ultimate Fighter, but and just no more shitty fight nights. Corey Sandhagen and Marlon Vera, that should be on a pay-per-view.
There
should be on a pay-per-view.
Or it should be a headliner for like
a fight night. A fight night should still have a bigger fight than that. Like, I don't know. I mean, there should be maybe one fight night a month and one pay-per-view a month, and just stack them both.
I agree.
Yeah.
I also think another thing that you need to do is I think you need to pay the fighters a little bit more. You know what I mean? To avoid stuff like the Costa thing. You know what I mean? Because in all these other moments, like I'm telling you, like there's been so many moments. Like I'm telling you, Jones right now would have fought by now if they
pay him $20 million. He's a big star.
They would have even $5 million. Pay him $5 million. $10 million. He'd fight. UFC would still profit.
Yeah.
So like I don't know what they're trying to do. Paulo Costa, Pay him 300 million. 300 million. No, he's not Floyd
He's
Mayweather.
liking that. He's liking that. Yeah,
300K. Pay Paulo Costa 300K. 350.
Yeah.
You fix that card, you end up selling more pay-per-view. You do that. You lower the pay-per-view price.
And guys, we're talking about stars. We're not just saying pay this guy in the early prelims 300K.
No.
We're not doing that.
Paulo Costa is over 1 million on Instagram.
Yeah, he's a
people
star.
know him. People like him. I guarantee, you do those two things. You do $50 pay-per-views. You pay the stars a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like,
no more fight nights.
imagine
in
how much more successful.
Yeah.
And you don't do the Apex. Imagine how much more successful the UFC would be in 2022. Imagine those fourth or whatever, how many things we said. Imagine what the UFC would be. Let me ask you guys: would you like the UFC more if all those things went that way?
And again, if you're having less fight nights in the Apex, and you're having less fight nights in general, when you do have a fight night, then you have a little more freedom to go anywhere you want. You go to Sweden, okay, but how do we make it successful in Sweden? Well, all the Swedish MMA fans will go to a fight if you stack it. Versus if you just have, at one time they had Anthony Smith and Alexander Gustafsson in the main event, and that's a big fight for Swedish people because Alexander Gustafsson is there. But other than that, there was really no one else on the card.
Put Chimaev there.
Yeah, exactly. Put Chimaev there. Put these big guys on there and pay the guys a little bit more. That's how you grow the sport. And sure, you're gonna have to spend a little bit of money, but
they're still profiting.
Yeah, and I think that again, I don't know. Maybe there's also just a possibility that they're kind of doomed because maybe they'll never get bigger than they were with Conor.
Yeah, but again, you don't need to be that big. You really don't.
Yeah.
You just need to be bigger. You just need to consistently as a whole do better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. I don't think the UFC needs to have these.
You don't need one.
Guys that are like Ronaldo or Messi. I feel like if you just put out a good product consistently, people are going to continue to watch it because I could see people getting tired of the bullshit, the shitty fight nights,
the Apex.
Yeah, people pulling out, they're going to get tired of that. You need to stop.
They're going to get tired of these Brazil cards, UFC 279. Let's see. The last 5 pay-per-views, including the coming up one, 3 out of the 5 have been whatever. The last
Chimaev and Diaz.
The last not 5, the last whatever. There's been 3 that are disasters. The 279 absolute disaster, 282 absolute disaster, and then 283 is a disaster. Yeah. That's 3 out of the last 6, right?
Yeah.
That can't be happening.
It can't be happening.
It can't happen. That's half. That's 50%.
Do you think there's too many fighters in the UFC?
I don't know if there's.
At the end of the day, the reason why they have a lot of one of the reasons why they have a lot of these fight nights is because they have so many fighters.
I don't necessarily know. Look, I don't have a problem with these fight nights. I just think that they're trying to spread out too much.
Yeah. I feel like they should cut more people, like Parker Porter.
Oh, there's no reason for certain guys.
When they realize when the UFC realizes, okay, this guy's not going to be a champ. He's not even putting on excellent performances. He's doing nothing for our business. Let's get rid of him. Exactly.
Chris Dawkins.
Why is a Parker Porter in the UFC? I understand you need someone to build the new up and comers. These new heavyweights, you have to match them up with someone, but I don't know, man.
I think the reason they do it is because these guys don't ask for a lot of money, and they're just.
But what value are they bringing?
I think it's just placeholders just for these events. You know what I mean? That's all it is.
Is the UFC, are they just trying to fill a quota for their deals with Disney? I feel like that's what they're doing.
Dude,
they're just trying to they have a deal with
They may have a deal with ESPN that the deal may be that they have to make these fight nights better or do this many fight. That's probably what it is, honestly.
But they're not. It's not to make it better. It's probably to put in more of them.
ESPN Plus. That's the deal.
Yeah.
That's probably the deal that they have to spread these out more so that they make more UFC fights. But I wanted to continue off with the fight, what's good for the sport, what's not for the good of the sport. Islam Makhachev. Look, is Islam Makhachev bad for the UFC? Him being the champion bad for UFC? Because look, I think Islam Makhachev's a great fighter. I think he's the best fighter in the UFC right now. Him or Chimaev, the 2 best fighters in the UFC.
Sure. He's so skilled.
Doubt. He's so skilled. He's better than Khabib. I said it. He's better than Khabib. Khabib's a better wrestler. Islam overall game is better. His striking's amazing. His striking's very good. His striking's very good.
Let's be real though. Is he good for the sport?
I don't think so. I don't think it's good because I think when you go into these Islam fights, Like, you know what's gonna happen.
Think about the fans' perspective. Like, think about, our perspective when we see Islam Makhachev and he's getting matched up with, let's say you're gonna put him up against Volk. Like, who do we think's gonna win?
happen.
We all think Islam's gonna win.
We're all certain Islam's gonna win.
And it's just, there's just something about that style where they're such good wrestlers. They take you down. And it's not even like they're these strikers like Fiziev and they outstrike you and they put on these wild performances. Like, yes, we appreciate grappling, we appreciate wrestling, but at the same time, like, it's a little bit of a slower style. It works, and both of these guys have otherworldly strength. And because they're so good, they're almost a victim of their own skill and talent because they're not exciting. Like, Islam Makhachev is not exciting. The only thing that made Khabib exciting is we wanted to see how long he could have this dominance, but we've already seen it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I think like look, Islam's great. He's amazing,
fantastic fighter.
He could be one of the best fighters ever.
Yeah,
I just think that like we've never nobody's been able to crack the code. So what's the point of it's like watching like something that you know the outcome. Like, if you're gonna watch like a movie or like a sports game, just any sports game, if you know the outcome beforehand, it's not entertaining to watch.
No.
Why is it entertaining to watch? You know what I mean? And I think when you have like a champion, like, nothing against Islam,
especially when that's your style too.
Exact. Like, nothing against like Islam. We like him as a fighter. We think he's great. But like when you have a champion like a Charles Oliveira, a Fiziev, like these guys have a chance to lose.
Yeah,
and I think that aspect is just so much more entertaining. Even in the 205 division, when that division's like a roller coaster at this point, it's entertaining.
Yeah,
it's super entertaining. What other 135? There's never a champion who's a champion in that division for more than 3 years.
Yeah,
that's super entertaining.
Love
145. I mean, Volk.
But here's the thing about Volk though, and I know I'm a big Volk guy, but like Volkanovski's striking with people, and like he's not taking anyone down.
No.
Putting them up against the fence, getting into crucifix or side, side control, and just like holding them there and controlling them until he gets a submission. Volkanovski's in there in the pocket with Max Holloway, trading with him, throwing.
So there's a chance he can get knocked out.
There's a chance he can lose. There's a chance he can get knocked out. Like, here's the thing, guys. Volkanovski's fantastic, but he's a striker, and that's the truth. As you were saying, when no one's cracked the code, it's almost like we know the result. Well, on the flip side, here's one thing that is good about Islam being champ before I go into all the negatives. Because I think Islam being champ is killing the sport.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's killing the lightweight division. I do. And that's why I didn't want him to be
most
champion.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
That's the second, one of the two most entertaining divisions, that and 135. And having like a champion like this, it's like, it's not entertaining anymore because he's going to win every single title fight that there is.
Exactly.
So,
but here's the thing. We've never seen someone knock out Khabib.
No.
We've never seen someone knock out. Well, we have seen someone knock.
But
Islam
that was
out.
early.
That was the early Islam.
That was
we haven't seen someone dominate one of these guys that's at the top of the sport. And this is the style that is the most dominant in the UFC right now. And Khamzat Chimaev sort of has that style.
But he strikes
in a way.
a little bit more.
Strikes a little bit more, a little more vicious. He's a little more similar to Khabib on the ground, but he also has the jiu-jitsu skills of like a Charles Oliveira, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So. But we haven't seen these guys get dominated. And that's why it's interesting to have them as champ, is because one day we might see a guy like Fiziev who has just cracked the code for takedown defense and knows how to keep him off of him and may have really good scrambles and may knock him out. Or Robert Whittaker. Exactly. We haven't seen one of these guys versus a Robert Whittaker because there aren't many Robert Whittakers in that division. Maybe Fiziev is that guy, even though he doesn't have the wrestling credentials as Whittaker. But still, that's interesting because one day it will happen, and when it does happen, that's the Leon Edwards Kamaru Usman moment over again. And that is so exciting to watch. But the truth is, there's really no one at the lightweight division that does that right now because the lightweight division is so stacked and that style works. But there's a lot of guys that implement that style, but no one's as good of it as the Dagestani guys at the top of the division like Islam. Arman Tsarukyan's fantastic. That's an interesting fight. But other than that, it's like, other than Arman, we know what's going to happen to Volk.
Charles.
He's going to get killed. We know what's going to happen if Charles fights
we know what's happening if
again.
Justin,
I just said Habib, but like
Justin,
Islam.
Dustin.
I mean,
all those guys.
He's basically Habib 0.2, and there aren't many matchups that are that exciting. The thing about Yuri Prohaska when Yuri fights is like he could lose. Even when Ngannou fights, like he could lose.
People thought Gon was gonna beat him.
Yeah, people thought Gon was going to beat him. You know, Izzy, when he fights, he lost to Pereira. He could lose. He's not infallible. Yeah. And you have guys in the featherweight. Volk could get knocked out. Aljamain could get knocked out. He basically lost to Piotr once back in the day.
125.
125 switches hands. Yeah. You know, so I think Islam is champ. It's not interesting because when he fights, it's like, great. Islam's going to get a win. Fantastic. Like, great. So exciting. Islam's going to take someone down, ride them out, and then submit them or
just submit.
Take them into a decision. And that's not exciting to me. And the thing is, Charles Oliveira has a more exciting style. Rafael Fiziev, more exciting style. Now, I wouldn't want RDA to be champ. I don't think his style is great either. And, you know, there's certain guys I don't like their style. But, you know, we've seen this before with Khabib, and we almost know, okay, well, now Islam's in his prime, and he's probably as good as Khabib, if not better. Mm-hmm. And I think it's not good for the sport.
Yeah, and we also seen it already. Like, you know, I think that's the biggest aspect about it. When it was Khabib, like, we didn't see it. We didn't fully like see him fight against all these guys. Yeah. So we were like, okay, he may lose against like a Justin Gaethje or something, or Dustin Poirier, or a Charles. But then, like, we know that he can't. Yeah. So like, there's not much intrigue. Intrigue.
We know if Islam fights Poirier, he's gonna destroy him. Like Khabib
also, and Islam's better than Khabib.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, he is
same with Gaethje. Like, I think there's a couple matchups that are, and then with Charles, a guy who beat all these guys. You know what I mean? So like, he's smoked Charles, a guy who smoked all these guys.
Charles is still, in my opinion, the most dangerous guy, like for finisher, for as far as finishing goes.
Yeah, I also think, I think in terms of Islam, the matchups that are going to be the most interesting, I think Sarukian and
that's the one.
And Dariush, those two guys. That's all.
I just look at Dariush and I'm like, he's not as crisp as Islam is on the feet. He gets hit a little more easily than Islam. And I just think it's the strength. Like, Islam Makhachev, I just feel like these guys have a different level of strength. It's like Khamzat Chimaev. Like, I just think that they're just these little bit stronger.
Stronger than, like, guys 2 weight classes up.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Exactly. Here's why, I mean, you know, little transition. I believe Khamzat's going to be maybe a GOAT potential because,
same with Islam, too.
He has the strength that these guys have, otherworldly strength. He also has the aggressiveness and striking on the ground like Khabib had. But he also has better jiu-jitsu skills than Khabib, and maybe even better jiu-jitsu skills as Islam because he finds submissions really easily.
And from anywhere.
And from anywhere. And he has good striking, powerful.
Very good striking.
So I can't wait to see him fight again. But yeah, I think Islam Makhachev as champ is kind of, you know, it's making the lightweight division boring because we have so many great fights at lightweight, but when it gets to that title fight, it's like, we know it's going to go down.
Like with Poirier Charles, we were like, okay.
How long do you think Islam sticks around for?
I think 3 years. I think he's gonna retire.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. I think 3 years. I think he's gonna.
He's gonna become the GOAT. Lightweight. I think he's gonna pass Khabib.
What does he have to do for it? He's beat Charles, a guy who Khabib never beat, who smoked all of Khabib's guys.
Who's a champion, the good champion.
Good champion.
Khabib took the belt off of Ali Quinta. So that's
now he's gonna fight Volk, #1 pound for pound, best featherweight of all time. He's gonna smoke him. He's gonna then after probably fight Dariush, a guy who Khabib never fought, who's a really good wrestler too. Yeah. That was the argument against Khabib. He didn't fight good wrestlers, good grapplers. He's gonna beat that guy too, who's a really good grappler, second best grappler in that division, arguably. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then he'll probably fight Sarukian, another amazing grappler. So he's gonna have 4 title fights against like legit guys. Then maybe you get a Fiziev. Dude, like that's a way better resume than Khabib.
Oh, dude, I feel like if he beats all those, if he
will beat all those guys.
He's the GOAT, in my opinion.
You think if he beats Dariush?
People are still gonna say he's still not undefeated, but like, let's be honest,
matter.
We don't really give a shit. Like, we consider GSP as being one of the GOATs. Yeah. He's been knocked out
twice.
Before. He's been knocked out twice. So like,
or finished twice.
Finished twice. So yeah, I think. I mean,
he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. I believe it.
I don't put too much stake into the one loss. Like, of course,
it was just, dude. That was like a fluke. That was a fluke. That was as fluky as it gets. And he changed his style since then. He's gotten better.
Is way more careful.
His defense is unbelievable. Yeah, now. Like, you know, he got knocked out, then he made his defense like amazing.
Yeah, and I understand it's fun to watch guys that are really good, but like, let's be real, his style is not. It's not even as fun as Khabib's. Khabib's style was
beat people up.
Like, he just mauled them. Islam is like, he slows you down. Yeah, like you know what I mean?
He's a bit like he's defensive.
But his striking these days is really looking better. Good. So maybe I'm wrong because his last fight was good.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think we just have to keep seeing. I just think the aspect, I don't necessarily know if it has to do with his fight style being boring. I think it's the aspect that he just can't lose.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
think
mean?
that's more of
like, it's not
I don't mind seeing his fight.
Like, I don't mind seeing Islam fight. It's just like in terms of his style.
Yeah.
But I just think the fact that like he's not gonna lose is kind of like, or there's no way he loses is just like kind of, that's what's the thing that's kind of bad for the sport. You know what I mean? Because like we know that he's gonna take down Volk at some point.
Yeah.
We know that he's going to take down Dariush at some point. We know he's going to take down all these guys. And when he takes them down, it's over. Like, he's going
to be honest,
smoke them.
I might take back some of my points because when I'm thinking about Islam versus Arman or Islam versus Volk even though that I kind of know what's going to happen, but Islam versus Dariush,
that's a good...
just based on the style matchups, I almost get more excited for that than I do for like Volkanovski versus
for
one
sure.
of these
Those two
45ers.
fights, for Volkanovski versus the 45ers.
I feel like, I don't know, man, because I know that we think that I just don't think Volk can lose right now to any of these guys. Like I think he's gonna demolish like one of these guys. But I think it's a bad move that he's moving up because I just think that momentum, like once he loses to Islam and gets demolished, I think that like maybe he'll go back down to fight these guys and underestimate them a little bit and say, well, they're smaller, they're not gonna wrestle, and just underestimate him a bit. And I think that
could hurt him.
Yeah, I think if Volkanovski stayed at 145. It'd be different.
He'd be in the GOAT discussion.
But it's still going to be interesting. Like when both of those guys are standing across from each other,
it's going to be cool.
It's going to be cool.
But I just think the aspect that we're talking about, is that it's just like the fact that he doesn't have a real chance of losing.
Yeah.
That's the aspect that I don't know if it's
Volk.
I don't know if it's great. That's what we don't think is great for the sport. You know what I mean? So, yeah, no, I mean, overall I don't think I think champions who have better chance of losing is what's better for the sport, as always, because anything happen. People tuning into fights, they want it to be like a 50-50 fight. Like, what would you rather tune into? A 50-50 fight or like a guy who's like minus? It's like, look, yeah, this is exactly what it is. In any other sport, you like a team, let's say a team is minus 500 versus, and then there's another team that it's pretty much even money. What are you more likely to watch? The one that's even money.
Yeah.
You know, like, so like that's the same with fights.
Yeah.
You'd rather watch a fight that like the people don't really know who's gonna win.
Why people wanted to see Oliveira and Makhachev.
Yeah, because
that's why no one cared about Volkanovski and the Korean Zombie.
Exactly. Why people cared about Max Holloway versus Volk because they thought Max won the second fight.
Yeah.
So I think that the unpredictability is what entertains the fans as always.
Yeah.
And I just don't like that there's a champion who that doesn't have a chance of losing. You know what I mean? Not that he's boring. Like I don't necessarily think I don't think he's got the most entertaining style of fighting, but I don't think it's the most boring. I don't think he's the most boring champ in terms of his fight styles. I just think just the aspect that he just doesn't have like a real chance of losing is what kind of like isn't great for the sport. You know what I mean? Like dude, the 205 division, how entertaining is that division now? It's so entertaining. 135. It's great. You get Cejudo versus Aljo.
That's a phenomenal.
It's a 50-50. 50% people are picking Aljo, 50% are picking Cejudo.
That's
like that's amazing. Marino versus fucking Figgy. Dude, like 50% of people are picking Figgy, 50% of people are picking Marino. But that's a little different because they fought 4 times. But like in terms of most fights, like 50-50 fights are the best.
Yeah.
It's not even like a question. Like
I think so.
It's not a debate. So that's the problem with Islam in my opinion. So yeah, I think overall, I hate to say it because I do like Islam, but I think overall he is bad for the sport.
Yeah,
him being champion is bad for the sport.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know
there's definitely good things about it, but there's also bad.
I wanted to talk about this, and I really think that this is, we didn't necessarily plan on it, but I think we're talking about what's good for the sport, what's bad for the sport. I think Conor's really good for the sport, and I wanted to just ask you this, because I have a really good plan for Conor to save his career. What do you think a perfect 2023 would be when Conor comes back? I'm thinking like
idea.
if you were to devise a plan for Conor McGregor to come back and have a successful year with multiple fights, what would it be?
So for Conor McGregor to succeed in 2023, which is also with the UFC succeeding. So if Conor's succeeding in the UFC succeeding. So the perfect plan for Conor McGregor in the UFC, I would say you book him against Paddy Pimblett. Yeah. That's the first step. You book him against Paddy Pimblett which is pretty much a tune-up fight. But Paddy's a bigger name. You know what I mean? Paddy wins. They both win in that situation. Paddy, look, he knows, the UFC knows he can't beat these top 15 guys. He can't. you might as well get him a little bit of more hype, let him make a couple million, and then go back to like fighting like bums, and he'll just be a guy like you can put on like any prelim or like any fight night, and people will be like, oh, it's Patty, maybe I'll watch it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not rely on him to like be like a superstar. So I think you book him against Paddy Pimblett, easy win for McGregor. That's a big fight. That's over 1 million pay-per-views.
People want to see him get knocked out.
People want to see Paddy get knocked out now. I think people would, if McGregor knocks out Paddy, more people love McGregor.
Yeah.
Even which would be amazing. So I think you book him against Paddy, 155,
Perfect.
170, either one. I think maybe 170, but it doesn't make a difference. He knocks out Paddy first round. I think if McGregor gets an early finish, that's the more likely that he'll fight in the next 6 months or whatever. Yeah. The quick fight, he'll fight in the next 6 months for sure. So you book against Paddy, then you book him against Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
Which is another winnable fight. I think stylistically that's a great match for Conor. Conor will have some momentum going.
I think this one's a little risky.
I think Justin Gaethje. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
I think you get Justin Gaethje at 170.
Okay.
Gaethje doesn't have the best gas tank, as we know.
No, he doesn't have the best gas tank.
Imagine what it's going to be like at 170.
Yeah.
That's a big fight, too.
I like the Conor Pimblett one. I think that's perfect. Right now, Pimblett's name is hot because he just had this big controversial fight. Everyone doesn't like him. There's a lot of people turning on him. He's still, whether you guys want to believe it or not, he's still a relatively big name compared to the average guy in the UFC. So Conor versus Pimblett's great because we saw Paddy Pimblett fail to take down Jared Gordon. He has, of course, dangerous jiu-jitsu, but I don't
that's not going to happen.
Take Conor
he's
down.
not going to take down Conor.
And he's not going to be able to strike with Conor. If Jared Gordon's lighting him up, sure, Conor may not be the same guy as he used to be, but he's still going to fuck him up.
Imagine what he's going to do to Paddy Pimblett.
And that's what we want to see. Dude, here's the thing about Paddy. He's still a tough guy, so I could see him getting knocked down, not knocked out cold, having to stand up, and then Conor knocking him down again. You have multiple knockdowns in one fight. That's a big moment. That's highlights. Then he wins.
Imagine.
But here's the thing, dude. I think that here's the thing. If he fights Gaethje next, he could lose. There's a chance. There's a chance he could.
I think he can
get his legs kicked off. Gaethje has tremendous kicks.
But Conor, when he does his Taekwondo stance, he's not susceptible to leg kicks. It was just the boxing stance.
True, and he was looking good. Dustin Poirier did grapple, but
he wasn't. Yeah. Poirier wasn't landing the leg kicks in that fight.
Yeah.
And he was going heavy on his leg kicks. What if he lights up Gaethje's leg? Gaethje is a traditional boxing.
I didn't know
stance.
Gaethje ain't gonna shoot.
He never shoots. He never shoots.
Poirier doesn't shoot that often either.
He's
but
not.
I
Gaethje never shoots.
It's not the same grappler.
And I think Poirier, as much as I think Gaethje's the better takedown, has the better takedown defense than Poirier. Yeah. But I think Poirier in terms of just takedowns, I think he's overall a little better than Gaethje,
especially in the UFC,
or at least he shows it more. You know what I mean?
He's a better grappler in MMA. I mean, But here's my thing.
So who would you rather him fight instead of Gaethje?
Okay, so I would like to see him fight Gaethje. I want to see him fight. I want to see him fight a big guy, but I think it's the better for a third fight.
Okay,
I think because again, I'm thinking of the perfect plan. You destroy Paddy Pimblett. Okay, well, why not take on
Dan Hooker?
Dan Hooker
at 170.
Exactly. That's an easier fight than Gaethje. Dan Hooker's a little old too. Great, Dan Hooker. That's a good fight. Dan Hooker's not a great grappler.
He's not going to grapple,
and he's not as powerful as Conor.
And he's got a weak chin.
He doesn't have the best chin.
What about this?
And then the third fight, give him whoever. At least we have 2 Conor wins in 1 year. That's it, dude. 2 Conor wins in 1 year. A third fight, 3 fights in 1 year.
What about?
Is massive for the UFC.
You know what I think would also be good?
Yeah.
What if you just do Pimblett, Tony Hooker?
Pimblett, Tony Hooker. I mean, listen. I don't like Tony fighting again, but I don't mind it. I mean, it's fine.
What if Conor gets 3 finishes?
That's what I mean.
Oh, in the first round.
3 finishes.
And then next year, you have him fight Gaethje.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
And Gaethje will be a little older, too.
Yeah. And what I've said recently is when Conor McGregor loses at this point in his career,
it's over.
He's going to take... Imagine if Conor gets knocked out again, or he has a war and takes the damage and then loses at the end. He's taking another 2 years off, and then he's 38, 37 when he comes back. And if he loses then, because again, the 37-year-old Conor will be even worse. He loses then, it's over. He's retiring. So why not get him like the best possible matchups?
Pimblett.
Easy wins. Pimblett, Hooker. And then,
then you could do Gaethje.
Then Gaethje. Or just Pimblett, Hooker, Tony, and then Gaethje. I'm just saying, because here, Conor loves to fight.
He'd fight. Like, he's ready.
Yeah.
It's just whether the UFC wants when he's like does the 6 months of USADA or whatever.
Yeah.
But when do you think Conor's realistically going to come back? I think in the spring.
I think he'll come back in the spring, and I think late spring.
I think like June.
And if he gets the win, like he's a guy who wants to feel good about himself.
He'll come back in August.
Yeah. And I remember him talking about wanting to come back and to have like 3 fights in 1 year when he fought Poirier in the trilogy. He had 2 fights that year, which is still good.
Yeah, that's very good.
But he wanted to have 3. If he beat Poirier the first time, he would have fought again. Then he would have fought again.
No, he would have fought for the belt. If he
would have fought for the belt. That would have been interesting.
Lit.
Yeah.
But I also think Charles Oliveira.
Maybe that could be the third fight.
I don't mind it.
Third fight.
I really imagine if he gets a win against Charles.
If he gets a win against Charles, that's crazy.
But and then he could fight Islam.
Yeah.
Even though he'd lose, that builds up to be like
that
amazing.
builds up his confidence. He wins. He's back in a training camp. He's training seriously all year. He'll get better. That's the best case scenario. But for Conor to come back, I know it's still interesting. For sure, it's interesting him fighting Gaethje, but the repercussions are if he loses, which there's a much better chance of him losing to Gaethje than these other guys like Pimblett or Tony or whatever, or Hooker. If he loses, then he's out, and you only get to see him one more time. Because realistically, if Conor loses again, he's only going to have like one more fight
left.
And why? Conor's a once in a lifetime person that the UFC can have. Why not make the most of it? Get him wins, get him to feel good about himself, get him to come back. Because if he feels good about himself, he's more likely to come back earlier.
Yeah, it'll be. I think the UFC is actively trying to figure out who they're gonna book Conor against. I think they're actively trying. Because I think originally,
do you think they care about him getting a win, or do they think?
I think they do.
Are so nearsighted that they just want to see him fight once?
I think they do. I think they wanted to book him against Nate Diaz. That's what they offered Nate.
That would have been
fight.
decent.
That's what they were trying in the first place.
I think Diaz is harder than Pimblett too.
He's harder, but I think that's a bigger fight.
It's a bigger fight, but Pimblett is perfect.
Pimblett's easiest.
Thing is, Conor might be too stubborn and too egotistical to fight a guy that's not ranked.
That is true also, but
he could be the guy who's his worst enemy in this situation.
Conor, yeah. So he may want to just fight Gaethje.
But
true. Like that's just not like ideal, like necessarily right away. Like I think Paddy Pimblett, if not Dan Hooker, if not Tony Ferguson. He may want to beat up Tony Ferguson. He doesn't like him.
Yeah.
Like he's got a whole history with Tony. So I think maybe he'd want to beat him up.
Yeah.
Like why do you think they're holding Tony up? Like maybe that's why.
Maybe. I know that people don't want to see tough guys getting easy fights. They don't like to see that. They'll shit on a guy like Paddy Pimblett for fighting cans, in the beginning of his career. But you can never say you'll never be champ to Conor. Like, what are they going to say? You'll never be champion. The guy's been a double champ. And also, in general, like, why not give a star like Conor the same treatment that you would a guy who's new to the UFC? Like, give him easier
fights. He hasn't been fighting in a while.
Give him a build-up. Give him some build-up fights, man. I think that if the UFC
the fans wouldn't have a problem with it. That's the thing. It's just whether Conor wants to do it or not. Yeah. I'm sure fans would love Paddy Pimblett versus Conor McGregor.
Dude, they would fucking want to see Conor win.
That's the fight Paddy Pimblett should want also.
That's the fight he should want, because otherwise he's going to fight another guy who's even harder, and he'll lose.
And who's not, or not even necessarily harder. They don't even need to be hard.
To fight Conor. Anyone, even if you think you're going to lose, I'd fucking fight Conor in front of the
money, just for the money.
Maybe I wouldn't, but fuck it, dude. I mean, why not?
Yeah, no, I think Paddy would be down for the fight too. That's the thing. So I think that's the fight to make you beat Paddy, Dan Hooker, and then Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
And then if he beats Justin Gaethje, dude, like.
If he beats Gaethje, that's awesome. But I mean, just in general, imagine if he got 3 wins and how big, like.
The next fight won't matter.
How many followers does the UFC have on Instagram right now? Well, let's
Conor
check.
Probably is more than him.
They definitely have more. They definitely have more in general. But I want to see, I'm pretty sure the UFC, they have 35 million. If Conor got 3 wins, they would have 45 million.
Conor is 46 million.
46 million.
So he's got way more than the UFC.
And if the UFC would gain fucking 5 million followers just from Conor fighting. That's 3 pay-per-views that are over 1 million. Imagine that.
Winning. Dude, like
they need to do this.
They need to do and I think those are like big fights too. Paddy Pimblett versus Conor is a big fight.
They have to have someone like us sit in front of him who works for the UFC and talk to him about this plan and say, "Listen, if you win 3 times, they're not going to say you'll never be champ. You've already been champ. You could just come out and say, I'm getting tuned-up fights. I'm going to beat these guys up, and then I'm going to have to fight tougher guys. I'm building myself back up." The world wants to see it. Why not do it?
I think anybody would prefer to see that.
Yeah.
I think Conor versus Tony, that fight would do big. That would do good.
Yeah.
Conor versus Paddy, that would do good. Conor versus Hooker, that would be a big fight. Like any of these fights are huge fights, just because there's a real chance that Conor wins. That's the difference. Like in this, with Conor McGregor, like it's the difference between him and Islam. Like you want it that like you can guarantee he's gonna win. You know what I mean? Because we barely see it anymore. So like,
and there's also a reality to the fact that he could lose too. Like Islam fights, like he's so good. Conor is not that good anymore. Think about Tony. I feel like sure, fine, but like I just feel like that'd be so easy for him.
You think it'd be? You think
I think he'd fucking knock him out in 30 seconds.
But same with Pimblett.
Yeah, but Pimblett probably still has a better chin than Tony. Pimblett has a good chin.
But he
gets rocked
him up way more.
But
and he hasn't gotten hit by a top guy. It's a better guy.
But it'd be a big build up. I like that fight. I think they need to do it, but they won't.
I think Hooker will talk some shit too.
The UFC will not do it. They'll give Conor like Renato Moicano or some shit like that.
No, that's not that bad.
It's not a bad, but it's still like a ranked guy.
Hooker,
the difference between Moicano and Pimblett is still night and day.
Yeah.
Moicano is a grappler. The guy likes to latch on submissions.
He's really good at
Like you don't want Conor to fight a grappler. You want to give him a striker.
That's why Dan Hooker
or a guy with no takedowns.
Dan Hooker's number 10.
Yeah, that's like the easiest. But the thing is, I like the Pimblett because it's like then you build him up even more with the Hooker. 3 wins, that'll be the best.
Pimblett, Ferguson, Hooker,
and then do whatever. Throw him to Habib after. Throw him to Islam. Who cares?
No, but I think
at that point,
you know what I actually think the UFC are gonna do? I think they're gonna give Paddy Pimblett Tony Ferguson.
Tony Ferguson.
I think they may.
Yeah,
I feel like they could.
Fuck that, dude. Paddy Pimblett doesn't deserve that fight. Tony Ferguson
deserves Conor. He deserves a Conor fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's get him paid one more time.
Dude, Paddy Pimblett's so shit.
Just imagine that moment. Like, that's a great moment for even if he gets knocked out, Tony, just to retire after getting a huge paycheck from Conor McGregor. Like that's
still good. That's still good.
Even if he does get knocked out, like it's like a positive moment.
Even if he doesn't get knocked out, he still has brain damage nonetheless.
Yeah, but he's gonna get a nice paycheck before he retires.
For sure.
Oh, he can hang up the gloves after losing to Conor in like a huge fight. Like I think that's a proper way to retire for Tony. I just don't want them to give Paddy Pimblett.
Here's the thing. I think Conor likes Pimblett. I think they like each other. I think they respect each other.
I know, but
I think that's why they're not going to fight.
That's so stupid.
But Paddy wants to fight him. I feel like Conor would just
smoke him.
Conor should fight him. Like
someone should
convince
insulted.
Conor, fight Pimblett. People would want to see you win. Even the people that don't like you would want to see you win.
I think more people hate Paddy.
More people definitely.
I think everyone. I don't think Paddy has any fans anymore.
And at this point, even though at one point, a lot of people wanted Conor to lose his fights, but I think more people are cool.
Yeah,
he's old.
He's big draw, like the biggest draw ever. Yeah, I think Ferguson. Paddy, Ferguson, Hooker, or Paddy, Hooker, Gaethje. That I want to see Paddy, Conor. I want to see Hooker, Conor. I want to see Gaethje, Conor. That's the 3. Ferguson, it's kind of like you know he's old. He should retire. I think those other guys, what's more. A win over Hooker is more impressive than a win over Ferguson. Yeah. At this point.
Oh yeah.
I think
a win over Pimblett's more impressive.
Or considered more impressive. You know? I don't know if a win against Ferguson really does much. I don't think it does much for the fans. Fans aren't gonna be like, oh, Conor's back with a win against Ferguson. You know. Yeah. I think if he knocks out Dan Hooker.
Yeah, people will think
he's back. Conor's back, baby. You know, or especially if Hooker gets a fight before that too and it wins. Yeah. You put Hooker against a guy who's decent and gets a win, Conor, that fight's way better. You know what? You know why I actually think that they put Hooker at number 10 is for the fact that he may be an option for Conor.
Maybe.
I think that could be why.
He doesn't deserve to be in the rankings right now.
No, but
imagine if Conor fought Paddy in
May or
in Vegas, and then Conor fought Hooker in Dublin. Do a Dublin pay-per-view. That'd be huge.
That would be massive. Hooker, yeah, then you could do Ian Gary
on it. But what are the chances that they actually do anything like this?
I feel like they may do Gaethje. I feel like that's just what they're going to end up doing. I think they're going to end up just giving him Gaethje, and there's going to be a real chance he loses.
If he loses, then it's all fucked.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's going to end up signing. I think his stubbornness is going to end up getting to him.
Maybe.
That's what I'm predicting. I think it's going to be Gaethje, but I want it to be Pimblett, of course, and then Hooker, and then Ferguson or Gaethje at the end, so.
Right.
Yeah, no, but Conor, got to give him these easy fights. Got to give him, I would like the Gaethje versus Conor fight, and I would love to see that fight. I just, maybe not the next one. You know what I mean? Maybe the one after that. Yeah, that's what I think. But, I wanted to change the topic a little bit. Just go back to like 2022. What were your top 5 UFC events of the year?
Sure. I would say the first UFC London. The second UFC London was
First
put
one
on
was with
paper, but
Aspinall,
the first one
right?
was Aspinall, who put on the good performance. Volkov, Pimblett was on it. Arnold Allen versus Hooker was on it. Ilya Topuria. That was a fantastic. You had the great submission by Paul Craig over Nikita Krylov.
Yeah.
Makhachev made his debut with a crazy knockout. I mean, that was an amazing card for sure. That was a great card. Then I would say, honestly, I would say that UFC 282. Honestly, I really liked UFC 282.
Really?
I thought it was good. UFC 281, the Pereira Izzy card. That was a fantastic card. That's 3 cards. What else is in there? I'm trying to think.
280?
Were there any like really good fight nights? 280. To be honest, 280 didn't live up to my expectations. Like, and that's not only because I, wanted Charles to win, but in general,
The Aljo fight,
aside
dude.
from the
Yeah, on O'Malley.
O'Malley fight, like the main event was good,
Like, yeah.
but it was quick, and it wasn't a war.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the guy that wanted to win didn't win. And then Aljo fight was a little bit not competitive either. There was a weird injury.
Yeah.
And then other than that, it was a lot of
O'Malley.
the Dariush fight was good. Gamrot,
It was great.
great fight. But other than that, the prelims sucked.
There was also Bilal Muhammad versus whatever. That was a good fight.
That was a decent fight, but I feel like it wasn't so great.
It wasn't as good as the amount they put into it.
Exactly. I thought that was going to be
281 though was really
281 was fantastic. So
Really
I would
good.
say those are my top 3. 276, which was Izzy versus Kennedy,
I
was
didn't like
supposed
that
to be
card.
good, but I didn't like it. Did Whitaker fight? Oh, the Paris card. I liked the Paris card.
that was so good.
Paris card was good. Some fights were kind
What
of
about
shitty.
278 with
Usman?
Oh no, that was shitty.
That was a
because,
shitty card. The prelims sucked.
And also
I don't think the Paris-
Aldo versus
yeah.
Marab was awful.
I'm trying
Who
to
was
think of
the
a card
co-main?
that really
Who's the co-main
delivered.
on that, by the way?
Co-main on that. For which one? 278?
278.
Costa.
Was it Costa?
Yeah. Or maybe Aldo Marab.
That's not good then. Never mind.
That wasn't a great card. Fuck,
I
man.
think,
you know what was a good card?
74.
Charles and
Gaethje.
Yuri and Glover.
Oh,
That's
that
in my
card.
top 5. That was a
Because-
great. There was a lot of finishes on that.
Yeah, and also who else was
the
Joanna?
Joanna
That was
KO.
amazing,
There was Valentina who got a finish. There was a lot of great fights.
dude. That was a great fight.
And then number 5 for me would be maybe the Charles Gaethje card was okay.
but there was Rose.
Yeah, that was a
versus-
terrible one.
But I mean, like, I usually fall asleep for all those
Yeah.
women's fights anyway.
Were there any
so it's
other
not like-
sick cards like?
But then there was also the Chandler Ferguson on that also.
Yeah, I don't know. Like there weren't that many great cards this year. That's why
I think 281 was number 1 for me. I think the Orlando card was pretty good too.
Okay, that would probably be in my top 5. I think that's number 5 for me. So that's my top 5.
I think for me, number 1, it's got to be what's 281.
Yeah.
Number 2's got to be honestly, I kind of want to say the Paris card.
Outside of the Whitaker and
No,
the
but it was
outside of
two
the top
great
2,
fights.
two
But
great
those were
fights.
Great. Actually, number 2, I would probably say. I may say 280.
The card at Paris was sick. What about the London card? Would you throw that at the first
first
London
one.
card? I think you gotta
That
throw
energy was great. I have to
Yeah.
say. I'm just 280. I still really liked. I'm gonna have to say number 2.
280. Damn.
I'm still gonna have to
Dude,
say
I was
number.
straight up
That Peter
depressed
Yan
I was
fight,
straight up
dude.
depressed after
Dude, that
one.
Peter Yan fight was
It
amazing.
was a great one, but then he got robbed. Like I just had to from the Piotr Yan decision when he got robbed to the main event. I was salty.
I still think overall as a card that was like amazing. So I think that was number 2.
Fuck,
Number
dude,
3
really.
for me would probably be. I think the Yuri versus Glover.
That's a great card.
Great all around. That lived. That didn't. Nobody expected it to be that good at all.
Yeah.
Ended up being way better than expected. I think the Orlando card's got to be up there, and then the London.
Yeah, I think that's
and then the
good.
Paris also is up there.
Paris is up there.
But you know what a card that honestly like was better than I thought was 277. I have to say, Pena Nunes too.
Oh, that was a decent.
That was
card.
decent. I expected that to be so shitty.
That was a decent card. Yeah.
That was better than 276.
Yeah, for sure.
276 was the most underwhelming card of the
Yeah,
of the year,
for sure. Even Volkanovski's Holloway, like that wasn't good enough.
No, that wasn't great because Volk was
Yeah.
just beating him up for like 5 rounds, like
Exactly.
like, bad, and like Adesanya versus fucking Cannonier was the worst fight of the year.
So, if you have to 3 breakout stars of the year, guys that in the beginning of the year were like no names. Who would your 3 be? They could be guys that aren't necessarily
Makhachev?
stars. You think he's a breakout star?
I mean, he's not yet, I guess. Right?
I think,
He's still,
dude, I saw him fight his last fight with 280.
He just wrestled for
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, who would be like considered a breakout star?
You know, one that I'm thinking of, Jack Della Maddalena.
Oh yeah.
That guy
also,
from Australia. He's got sick boxing, dude. He's finished.
Also, Ilya Tapiria.
Ilya is another guy.
Ilya.
Breakout star. Yeah.
Who is the guy who? I mean, I don't know if they're there's not that many stars. I mean, like Sean O'Malley. Like I guess like
I don't know if he's a break because we knew he was. He's a big.
Who
star.
would is the guy who beat Jack Hermanson considered a breakout star? Like because I mean I don't. Like,
no.
What would be like Alex
you could
Pereira?
consider that Alex Pereira. But
Alex
people
Pereira.
knew he was.
Yeah, but not that many. No,
not that many.
In 2022, before they when he fought his first fight in New York, people didn't really know him. You know, so I would say Alex Pereira. I would say what's his name? Who was the first guy I said?
You could say Arman Tsarukyan wasn't a big name.
Tsarukyan. I think Arnold Allen.
Arnold Allen,
for sure.
Good pick.
Arnold Allen was Gamrot.
Okay, I guess the question: who are the best rookies?
Best young guys.
Rookie, first year. This is first year fight. You could throw Makhachev.
Rosas Jr. has got to be up there.
Oh, Rosas, yeah, for sure.
For sure, just because he's actually good. I think he's really good, actually. I'm going to say Makhachev just because rookie. We're thinking rookies. Dude, Makhachev's got some crazy potential.
He does.
Those are like the only rookies that I can really think
How old is Makhachev?
He's 22.
Oh, shit. I thought he was...
Or 23. 22. He's going to be a champion.
He was like the youngest guy in the UFC at one time, and then Rosas came in.
Yeah. He's amazing too.
He's very good.
He's gonna be like he's like Khabib and Islam. Those guys.
Some people say he's gonna be champ by the end of this year. I don't fucking know.
No way. How's that gonna work out?
He's gonna have like 5 fights.
Yeah, no, he's only 6-0. Let's relax on it. Once he's 27, he'll get the belt. But no, I think those are the only guys who I can think about. Another like thing. I mean, who was the most unexpected like fighter of the year? Like who like before the year you didn't really think too much about. And then, like, it was really surprised you. Know?
Honestly,
or the most surprising fighter, at least.
That's a tough one. I mean, for me, it might be
Aljo.
Aljo surprised me with his win over Piotr.
I think Bilal too. Bilal Muhammad
surprised me. I mean, he showed that he was really good, but like, it's a tough one, man.
Khamzat.
Honestly, I think like when I say fighter, I wouldn't say like I'd say like impressive.
Sean O'Malley too. That's what's up there for me.
O'Malley, I'd say, surprised me the most because I thought he was going to get finished by Piotr, but I think
O'Malley for me, it's O'Malley, Bilal. Because we got to remember, like everyone was picking Luque to beat Bilal. Everyone was picking Luque to beat Bilal. Everyone was picking Brady to beat Bilal.
Yeah.
We
had a great pick. We picked Bilal.
Oh, right? Yeah, that was a great pick because we were the only ones who realized how bad
Brady got his hype derailed.
I don't understand why there was so much hype.
Dude, he got his hype derailed. Let's name some of the fighters that
did not live up to the hype. Oh,
Brady's one.
Brady's got to be number. Oh, Patty's got to be number one. No, Patty's got to be number one. Brady's got to be 2.
Yeah.
Because Patty was more hype. I don't know what people saw in Brady. I generally just don't. Also, Shavkat Rakhmonov is another guy who started surprise, like
for sure,
up and coming guy. But I don't know what people saw in Brady. I generally just don't get it. Like, what did they really see in him? Like, he beat when did he have like an impressive fight before that? Like, he almost lost to Chiesa.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I mean, he did almost lose to Chiesa. That's why I didn't think he was ever gonna.
And Bilal beat Luque, and Wonder Boy, like. That's impressive. You know what? I actually want to see Gilbert Burns versus Wonder Boy. No. Gilbert Burns versus
that fight sucked.
That fight sucked. Yeah. Gilbert Burns versus Bilal. That's a fight I want to see.
Gilbert Burns versus Neil Magny is what's wrong with the UFC.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. That's what they're gonna do with Whitaker.
I will never be a fan of Neil Magny. I don't care how many wins he has. He's the most boring guy in the world.
He's almost as boring as Sean Brady.
He's the striking version of Sean Brady.
Dude, Sean Brady is just.
He has a clinch style.
That was so nice when Sean Brady got finished.
I like that.
Was that not like the greatest?
It's a great feeling.
That was a great feeling.
But my best feeling was Izzy getting finished by Pereira.
Dude, was that your best moment of the year?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, first dude.
Because that was the one where, I really wanted Pereira to win.
And we were confident.
Yeah, we were confident.
We were generally honestly.
But during the fight, it was like, fuck, he got hurt in the first round. I'm like, no.
You thought more into the first round. Yeah. I didn't really consider that too much. towards the end of the fight when it was going to the 5th round, I thought he was gonna lose.
Yeah.
To be honest, but before the fight, I was actually really confident that Pereira was gonna win, and I was thinking the reason I was like so confident was because I was like, okay, like the kickboxing aspect, like it was gonna be a kickboxing fight. Adesanya's been away from kickboxing for such a long time. Pereira fought like a top guy in kickboxing a year ago, and it was a very close fight.
Yeah,
he arguably won.
We both going into it, we were like, this makes sense.
Like it made sense, and people like just thought we were just doing it to troll, but like that generally like that was actually like we were so confident. Like
why I really wanted him to win, because people thought we were fucking trolling.
No, but like I was like okay, like this is 100% could happen. I was just like so confident. Charles versus Islam, I was a little bit less confident.
I was a little nervous going into that,
and I think that's why we didn't really like we definitely were.
Oh yeah, we were saying things like he has a 90%.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like that. I think
literally were saying in the beginning like
true.
he has 100%.
That is true. No, but like I think as like the process came on, we were a bit less confident.
Dude, I remember having a phone call with you once. We were like,
how is he gonna lose?
We were like, how is he gonna lose?
Like yeah, we were like yeah, no, we were both really confident about that. But I think
if Charles had knocked out Islam, that would have been the best feeling ever.
For sure. But at the same time, I think in terms of Pereira versus Israel, we knew what we were gonna get from it.
Yeah, for sure.
The Islam Charles, we had no idea what we were gonna get.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like Charles Pereira Izzy, we're like, okay, it's gonna be a stand up.
Yeah.
But Izzy ended up wrestling like a bitch.
Yeah.
But anyways, but it ended up coming down to the striking and Pereira knocking him out. So no, I mean that was the best moment of the year for me.
Great moment.
And then Usman getting knocked out was awesome also.
Yeah.
That was. I wanted Usman to win, to be honest, because I wanted Chimaev to fight for the bout already. But just seeing like a guy who's like unstoppable get finished is like the best. Like you know, like that's the same thing with Usman.
That was awesome too. Yeah.
But then Izzy won. That was, and then I think
there's been some great upsets. I mean, Usman losing, Izzy losing. Who else lost?
Charles losing. I mean, that's not an upset, but still, that was a champion losing.
Yeah, there's a lot of champions lost.
Yuri win. I mean, that was not an upset.
That wasn't a big upset,
dude. There was some good. I think like in terms of fights overall, I think there was good fights this year and good moments. But I think in terms of pay-per-views, this was brutal. So yeah, no. I mean, another thing I wanted to talk about. I feel like we've talked about our top 5 grapplers in UFC. We talked about our top 5 strikers in UFC. We've never talked about the top 5 kickers. I remember last week we were saying that Yair is top 3 kicker in the UFC. So that got me thinking, like, why don't we do a top 5 kickers in the UFC?
Yeah.
Because I think there's plenty of guys, and I think it'd be a very interesting.
I got a quick top 5. Number 1, Alex Pereira. I don't think he's number 1, but he's in my top 5.
Oh yeah.
Because he outkicked Izzy and hurt Izzy's legs, and that changed the fight. Izzy's one of the best kickers in the game. Then I would say Wonderboy. Got to throw Wonderboy in there. He's got such amazing kicks. He can make flashy kicks work in a real fight. Like he can do it all. Then I'd throw in Jan Blachowicz because he has kicks that can completely like change an entire fight. Like even checking kicks, I take that into account when I'm looking at the kicking.
Yeah, it's not necessarily flashy.
Yeah, and then I think Jan because he's fucked up Izzy's legs. He took away Rakic's kicks, and then Magomed fucked his legs.
That was brutal. A guy like Magomed is crazy.
Yeah. And Magomed's a tough guy. He's a tough kicker.
And he was like,
he was
wobbling around like he was hurt. Like he was.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone do that to Magomed. You wouldn't have expected that, but like that really showed he's such a good kicker. And then I would say Yair is in there as well, and I would say John Jones. I'd put John Jones.
But is John Jones considered a fighter still?
That's the thing. Like if we're going active, for sure, it's hard to throw him in there. But like he wins his striking exchanges with his kicks.
Because of his kicks. Yeah. I think for me, I mean, look, you got to count everything.
Oh, and maybe Volk. But the reason I take Volk out a little bit is because he's been coming a little bit more of a boxer lately. Like he has a kickboxing style, but those kicks, that's what got him to beat Holloway the first time, 50-45.
With the calves.
Yeah, he's a great kicker. But I think I would take Volk right out of my top 5.
I think, who I think you can make an argument could be on there is Ciryl Gane.
Oh, Gane? My bad. I have to throw in Gane. Gane is 100% in there.
Into Francis?
Yeah, Gane is 100% in there.
Into Lewis?
Ooh. Yeah. But who do I take out, though? I don't know. It's hard to take Pereira, Jan out. It's hard to take Wonderboy out. It's hard to take Yair out.
You can't take out any of those guys.
I guess Gane is up there. But I'll just throw him out.
I think I'd maybe put... that's so true.
Maybe I'll take out Jones because he's not active.
Or Pereira. I'd maybe take out Pereira.
Pereira's kicks are so good. But here's the thing. They're good, but like outside of the Izzy fight, like we haven't really seen him destroy anyone's legs. No. Yeah. So maybe I'll take Pereira right in my top 5 and put Gane in there.
For me, I think number one. I'm gonna go number 1 to 5. I think the best kicker in the UFC is Wonderboy.
Yeah, he's a great kicker.
Like the things he can do is just different. He can do anything. He can chop the calves too.
Yeah.
He can go to the head, he can go to the body. Best kicks in UFC. Number 2, I mean, I think it's got to be. I hate to say it. I think Yair.
Yair. Okay.
I hate to say it.
He's got good leg kicks too, man.
He could do everything.
He could
Also,
do
with his
everything.
kicks. You know, I mean, I think that's that you have to keep in mind. You know,
Yep,
he can chop at the legs. He can go high. He can go low. Like he can go to the stomach. Everything. Number 3 has got to be Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah.
I think, dude.
Not flashy, but it works.
It works. The calf kicks against
Yeah.
Magomed, dude, brutal.
Yeah.
Magomed lipping out there like we thought Magomed was gonna be one of those guys who are not beatable.
Yeah.
He made Magomed look super beatable.
Right.
Super impressive by him. What he did to Rakic, destroying his knee.
Yeah.
Amazing. What he did to Izzy. So I think he's number 3 for me. Number 4, I would say. I mean, I'm not gonna include John Jones because I don't.
He's not that active.
He's not active, in my opinion. If he was, I think he'd be 2. I think
He's
he'd be
really
2.
good with his kicks.
Yeah, amazing. And for that size to do it, I'm gonna put Cyril Gane at 4. Wait, is that 4? Yeah. 4.
Yeah.
4. Okay. And then number 5, who is that other guy we just said?
You have
No, but who is on? Who is?
I said Pereira maybe.
I feel like I'm missing one guy.
Fiziev? You could put Fiziev in there.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Fiziev's
But I'm
got
gonna
good kicks.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say
Fiziev.
Yeah,
I think I got to put Pereira in mind because he's the highest level kickboxer.
but
You know what I mean?
he's more of a boxer.
Yeah, that's
from
true.
his
It's like
kickboxing style.
without his kicks,
Because
like,
people used to say
without that power.
people used to just call him a boxer. And
Yeah.
They're saying like he's not a real kickboxer. He's just a boxer.
That's
But
true. I guess.
But then he proved people wrong. But still,
yeah.
like
I
he's
guess I
known
can't
for-
put him in my
yeah.
top 5, but he's still phenomenal.
Dude, like nobody could chop at his legs.
yeah.
I think his
At one
defense
point, I
is
would have
really
put Izzy in there, but
I think Izzy is very
after
good.
the Jan Blachowicz and Pereira fight, how can I put him in my top
Just
5?
Chop his legs.
Yeah, you got outkicked by those guys.
Yeah,
can't put him in
no,
there
Yeah,
anymore.
Izzy at a point for sure. I think Izzy could do a lot with his kicks.
Yeah.
Could do a lot more than Jan Blachowicz could do. But I just think
He
in
doesn't
terms of
kill
effectiveness,
anyone
like
with them. Yeah.
he just uses that point. It's like,
Point
like
fighting.
uses like a taekwondo.
Yeah, whereas
You know,
all these
like-
other guys that we're putting in there,
They're
they fuck guys up.
Beating people up.
Yeah.
Also Marino. No.
He's got good kicks, but
But
like,
that was only because that one.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I thought about it.
it's easy
But
to have good kicks when you weigh fucking 200,
125.
200 grams.
Peter Yan's got good kicks, but
It's not
not the same.
yeah.
I'm trying to like think.
Same
who
with
else.
O'Malley. He's got good
O'Malley's
kicks.
got
but,
good kicks.
But like,
Cheeto's got.
I can't put him
Cheeto.
up. Cheeto, but I can't put him in the top 5.
No, dude. There's a lot of good kickers.
Whitaker has good kicks.
He's got very good
Volk
kicks.
has good kicks, bro.
Costa's got good kicks.
Costa's got good kicks.
Vittori's got decent.
Nah,
no,
dude.
fuck
Vittori
Vittori.
doesn't do anything, dude.
Chimaev's got good. Chimaev's got underrated.
I don't
tell you,
know, man.
No, his calf kicks.
I've seen it. I've seen
His
it.
calf kicks are good.
But they're very basic. Like I feel like he
But
only does
Jan
the calf.
Blachowicz are basic too.
But Jan has different legs.
Dude,
he's got
I think
different.
Chimaev's kicks are very good too.
They're okay. You know who has underrated kicks? Both of these guys, Usman, Colby.
Get Usman out of here,
Dude, Usman has some
can't
good
kick.
front kicks to the body.
Oh,
He's good. front-
actually, and what about why
Colby has some good kicks to the body.
I don't. I'm not. I'm not. a fan
Usman,
of
I
his
like
kicks.
Usman's front kick to the body.
Dude, I just
Gilbert
think
Burns,
Usman and-
Bilal Muhammad has some good body kicks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying
Some
to.
of these welterweight wrestlers.
Jan
have
also.
good
Jan has good body kicks.
Peter Jan has phenomenal
body
kicks.
kicks.
Yeah, really good.
Aljo's got good knees. Not necessarily.
Aljo
kicks.
has good kicks.
But not. He's more knees. I
He
think
throws a lot. He throws a lot of kicks.
I like his knees. I like.
Yeah, good kicks.
He's got very
Good
good knees. Yeah. But I think Wonder Boy's got to be number 1.
Some of these guys are a little older, like Barboza and Aldo. I would have
But
put them up there, but
not
they don't
anymore,
throw
not
them as
anymore.
much.
Aldo's retired too,
Yeah.
and Barbosa. Taperio's got. It's more boxing. I
Yeah.
would say. No, I mean I think. Yair and Wonder Boy in my opinion.
Oh, you know who has really good kicks? Giga Chikadze.
Oh yeah.
Giga has phenomenal kicks.
Dude, yeah.
That guy's
You know,
definitely top 10.
Another
but
guy. I don't know if you saw him. He's very low, like in terms of rankings and stuff. But Natan Levy, dude, I don't know if you're watching that.
Natan
His
Levy.
kicks were ridiculous.
Really?
Like he was
What's
on the
his name?
Natan Levy. He's from Israel.
Oh,
Remember that
okay.
guy?
Yeah, I know.
He was throwing some
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
kicks in his fight at
Yeah.
Orlando card.
Okay.
But, I mean, he's not on the list because he isn't beating enough top
for
guys.
sure.
But like he could do some crazy
yeah,
shit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have to go back and watch that, but
But I was like surprised. I was like, dude, this guy's
think-
kicks are like it just like stood out really.
I think the best I really like Jan's body kicks, but
What's your favorite? Who's like, if let me ask, like,
Yeah.
in terms of like who, like, what kick would you be the most scared to take out of anybody?
oh man, this is a good one.
Or what ability would you rather have? Like, if you were a fighter, you could take someone's kicking ability.
Honestly,
What do you take?
I take Jan's.
You think it's just the most effective?
Dude, I just think it's so effective. He's so good at check. Like, I wouldn't want to deal with kicks either, so you just start checking them, and
He's
you
got
could
such
just
strong
destroy someone's leg.
legs, dude.
Exactly. And, like, for sure, if I have to go with just kicking ability, I might go with Jan just because he's so effective and so strong with his leg kicks.
Yeah.
He could change the fight. Like, Alexander Rakic has some of the strongest kicks, but they're sloppy. Like, he just throws them with all
Jan
his force.
completely neutralized.
Telegraphs them. Yeah, exactly.
Same with Magomed. He neutralized Magomed.
Wonderboy has some flashy kicks, but I feel like he doesn't have a lot of power on them. You know what I mean?
He could. I'm in certain
put power
moments
on.
Yair.
Yeah.
Yair
Yair
is
some great kicks.
fantastic.
If I could just go with ability, to be fair,
Okay,
I might go
Yair.
with like Yair or Wonderboy because
Wonderboy, yeah.
because like I feel like if I could have my power with their kicks,
But like, or like just their power or whatever.
okay, if I'm going with their power, I might go with it. Just pure fight, I might go with dude. Honestly, Yair would be sick to have to kick like a Wonderboy or Yair. You'd just be spinning in the air like.
Yeah.
No, who
that's
could fuck
true.
with that? No one could deal with that.
No, yeah.
But
for
I think
sure.
a guy like
Or
Jan
Facif.
is more useful at the highest level. Maybe just because I feel like landing a leg kick is easier than landing like a spinning heel kick. Spinning heel kick can leave you open to getting taken down.
Also gasses you out a bit.
Gasses you out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would say maybe Magomed. Jan, I would also probably
Yeah.
say Jan because like, dude, his calf kicks are ridiculous.
Yeah, they
and
are.
Being able to check how he checks, like, it's I
You know
can't.
who has good kicks? Underrated. Conor. He used to have some of the best kicks.
Oh
in the
yeah,
game.
amazing.
Really
amazing.
good kick.
Even in the Poirier fight, his kicks were
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. Dustin has some good calf
Dustin,
kicks.
just good calf kicks. Gaethje, good calf, very good.
Gaethje has
calf
good
kick.
leg kicks. Yeah.
Very powerful. I think they're a bit overrated, to be honest.
Yeah, he doesn't throw them that often either.
Like I think you take a guy who's like decent at checking kicks, and he's like when
Oliveira checked his kicks.
dude, he couldn't do anything in terms.
Yeah.
Even though that was really quick, so like
Yeah.
that's a bit different. But like,
Let me ask you, just based on that fight, what was your coolest performance of the year? Is that the Oliveira Gaethje? Because that's mine. Because, dude, here's what
I was
makes-
like, what the fuck?
When I say the most cool performance, I mean like the performance where you really, really want someone to win. You think they're a cool champion or a cool fighter anyway, and you also don't necessarily want their opponent to win. You don't like their opponent. So for me, I didn't really like Gaethje.
Gaethje.
I liked Oliveira, and I wanted him to take him out. And I really didn't like the fact that it was in his hometown. He got screwed over by the athletic commission. And I just loved the scene. It was like a war or two, but it was really quick. And I liked the way how he just killed him really quickly. So what was your coolest performance of the year?
It's got to be Pereira still.
Pereira.
Still
Damn,
gotta be that.
okay.
I was just so
He had
happy
some
to
moments
see-
where he got touched.
I was
up
just
and
so happy to see Israel.
that was a
lose.
cool moment though.
I
gotta
think just
admit.
seeing Israel lose was just
Yeah.
like amazing, you know, like because like I couldn't stand him as a champion. He was so cringy, like the Elsa stuff, like
Yeah.
he was so boring. All of his fights were so bad until that Pereira fight.
Right.
So that fight overall being great also was a good moment. You know what I mean?
True.
Israel Adesanya finally in another good fight. You know?
Yeah.
Like when he fights in good fights, they're entertaining. You know, like I enjoy that. So like that was also good. The Oliveira one, to be honest, I thought Gaethje was gonna beat Oliveira.
Yep.
I remember I told you.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, Gaethje's gonna be the guy to knock him out because he gets hit.
Yeah, he gets hit a
easily.
lot.
So I was like, Gaethje with his power, he's gonna take Oliveira out.
Yeah.
Like, but so I don't know if I was like that happy, but
Did
it
you
was
bet on
very
that?
cool. Yeah, I bet on Gaethje.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so
Fair enough.
I didn't bet a lot. I was only
Yeah.
like $25, but like, yeah, no Gaethje. No, that was a good moment though. I would say because it was just weird though that he was not the champion. That was a whole like weird scenario. Like he won, but there was no belt. So like I was like, oh, now we have to wait another like 5 months or whatever for him to fight again, and then for him to get another title defense, he'd have to win his next fight and then fight another fight. So it was like a weird feeling in my opinion. But yeah, Alex Pereira versus Izzy. That was the best moment.
That was a great moment.
Also, Chandler versus Poirier was a great fight.
That was a great fight. Yeah.
I got to rewatch that fight because I feel like when that fight was happening, my computer was glitching a little bit.
Yeah.
So like I kind of like I remember like it, but like there was like moments I missed, and I want to like.
Did you miss any of the first round or second?
The second round I was missing something.
Second round was
Yeah.
the part where Chandler took him down. It wasn't
round
too crazy.
Yeah, round I think I was missing some of it, but no, I want to rewatch that fight. I want to rewatch O'Malley versus Jan. I was trying to rewatch it on YouTube, like, but there's nobody posted the full thing.
Did you get Fight Pass?
They have all the old fights.
Yeah, they have every old fight.
Ooh,
Fight Pass
I may
in
have to
HD.
get that. I may have to get that.
And it's like I think it's pretty just like maybe $8 a month or something.
See Callum whatever fight.
King Callum.
Yeah, see King Callum fight.
Callum Walsh. Yeah, exactly.
That's why you're gonna get a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to rewatch that fight for sure. But yeah, no. There were some good years in 2022. You know, two good moments. What do you think? There was better moments in 2021 or 2022?
I think 2021.
But what was the best?
I think Gagey versus Chandler was more iconic than Poirier versus Chandler. I think that was just because it was Madison Square Garden. You know, Chandler was still relatively new to the UFC. I liked the Usman knockout over Masvidal. That was a big fight. Like Usman had a big year that year. You know, it was a good year for him. Adesanya had some shitty. Wait, was it Adesanya? Who did Adesanya? He fought Vettori and Jan. He didn't fight Jan. He fought Vettori.
No, Jan was 2020.
Did Adesanya fight
Vettori?
He fought Jan in 2021.
Did he?
He lost, yeah.
So
he moved. Remember, he fought Costa 2020.
Oh,
yeah,
Costa.
at the end of 2020, in the fall, and then he fought Jan.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a great year, but Ngannou knocked out Stipe.
That was a great.
That was a big year. Usman
knocked out Masvidal.
The Colby fight that was a good build up as well.
But I think there was more iconic.
Oh, but then we had Chimaev fucking up the Leech, Li Jingliang. Then we had Piotr Jan, Corey Sandhagen.
That was one of the best fights ever.
Big fight,
truly.
Yeah. What else happened that summer?
Jan,
Conor
versus Dustin.
That year's much better than the 2020.
You think so? But I feel like there was some iconic moments this year.
There were.
You know what I mean? Like Usman getting knocked out, head kick.
There were.
That was amazing.
Yeah, for sure. There was
Israel getting finished. Out. Charles losing easily against, you know what I mean?
Charles winning the belt and beating Poirier. I feel like 2021 was a fucking great year.
I think 2020 was even better.
2020 was a sick year.
Even better.
I'd say 2021 was like
better than 2020.
So dope, bro. We got to see Khamzat come back and like kill Li Jingliang.
By the way, I just wanted to say, so I don't know if we said it, but apparently Chimaev wants to fight on the 285 card. Mm-hmm. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So that's the card in the UK.
Yeah.
So so it's Leon. Like Leon is the guy who's ducking Chimaev. So he's trying to get that fight.
Damn.
Whether it's Colby
or Leon's gonna
Colby or Leon.
I think the UFC is just gonna offer him more money. Leon has to take that because he's gonna want to fight on that card.
Colby or Leon, both those guys, I think, because he wants to fight on 285, which means he either wants to fight Colby or Leon, and figure Leon doesn't have a.
Well, who else? He said 4 guys are ducking him.
Yeah, but they said that he wants. They said he wants to fight on 285 though. So to fight on 285, it's got to be Colby or Leon.
Why would it have to? Why couldn't
Leon.
it just be? Why couldn't it also be Bilal?
Because
Bilal would want to fight on that.
But also the reason I say it's Leon is because the only guy
Kamaru's
out,
but Kamaru might be fighting. You never know. He could.
So it's Colby, Bilal, and Leon.
Yeah, it could be all of them. Like there's 4 guys.
Yeah.
He says. My question is, who's the 4th guy?
It's gotta be Pereira or Izzy.
I think Pereira calling him out at 205 is ridiculous.
That was so dumb, and he was acting like he did something with that.
He was acting like, dude, you're calling a guy out who's
why would he want to fight him?
Never even fought at 205. Why would he calling out a welterweight?
What's the point of fighting at 205? There's no belt. Chimaev wants to fight for belts. He doesn't want to fight Pereira for no reason.
It's like saying, hey, fight me at heavyweight. Like what?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Crazy.
Yeah, Pereira's sounding acting like he's cool for that.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Let him fight at 185, and we'll see what happens. Pereira would get killed.
Get destroyed.
Get killed. But I wanted before we're running out of time, but we've got probably time for 2 more topics. But I wanted to discuss our pound for pound list going into 2023. I think it's a perfect time to do pound for pound. We wanted to talk about it a few weeks ago, but I think now would be a little bit better since the year is coming up, 2023, and we don't have much fights coming up until the Gastelum that doesn't have much significance at all. So I think we're long overdue for a pound for pound list. I don't want to look at I want to do it just straight up us. No looking at considering the UFC's list or anything. Just us straight up. So number 1 to 15.
Yeah, I think.
Or 12. Do they do 12 or 15?
Let's do 12. Let's
do 12 for sure.
1 for me would definitely be Volk. Based on.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think Islam is probably 2.
2. I think Islam's 2.
Who do you think's 3?
I think Aljo's 3.
Aljo's
3 for me.
I don't hate that. I mean, he's beat Piotr, but the thing is, his wins over Piotr Jan, that's his biggest win. His win over TJ. TJ wasn't ranked.
Who else had he also smoked Sandhagen too.
Yeah, that's true.
Gotta remember. But and then Usman got finished this year.
You
recently.
think, yeah. So you think getting finished would really bump you down?
Yeah, Izzy got finished.
So who do you think? I think Aljo 3. What about number 4?
Number 4, I want to say Francis, but he never fights.
He doesn't fight.
So for 4, I would.
And he beat what? Stipe and Gon? Good, decent, but you beat Stipe. I guess his fights before that matter too. Of course, he.
No, like I think, but
I'd say Francis is number 5.
I think Usman's 4.
Usman's got to be 4. Leon number 6.
Leon 6, and I think number 7
Pereira.
is Pereira. Yeah.
8 Izzy.
9 Charles.
Charles 9.
10 is I want to say but I can't say Whitaker. I'm gonna say Figgy. Probably Figgy.
You think Figgy has a better resume than Robert Whitaker? I don't see it.
I don't, but I think the fact that he's a champion like is what really has hurt him.
I don't know. I mean, like, fair enough. I guess I look at resume when I look at pound for pound. I think Whitaker's
it's also
got a
current.
better
It's
resume.
also current. It's
like Figgy's wins over
Marino.
Not Marino, but that other guy that he beat a few years ago.
Benavidez,
like that's like Whitaker's win over Vettori. But Whitaker has better wins.
Benavidez
Romero.
Was he a champion?
He had a close fight with Izzy. Benavidez was never a champ.
Oh.
But I think his win over, I think 125 is. I think those guys should be at the bottom of the pound for pound list.
But what about Yuri?
I think Yuri should be at the bottom of the pound for
Also,
pound.
I think Chimaev should be up there.
No.
You don't think so?
In the pound for we're not students. Pound for who's he beat besides Burns?
Yeah.
He's beat Holland.
But
Is not
Colby
even
shouldn't
ranked.
be even close to it.
Colby should not be in it. But Whitaker, I think
people saying
Whitaker.
Whitaker's higher than Colby.
Poirier and Whitaker should be the only non-champs that are in.
What about Holloway?
Aside from Usman and those other guys.
What about Holloway? Holloway, I think gets out of it.
Out of the top.
What about
12.
Glover?
Because he's lost too much. Holloway can be in the top. Glover, no.
Glover?
I don't think so. Who's
wins.
number 9?
Who did we? I think we did number 9.
I think
number 9 was Izzy.
I think it's got to be Izzy. Okay, so number 10. Okay, how about this? Number 10 can be. Yuri's beat 3 guys.
It's got to be Figgy.
Maybe Figgy.
I don't like.
Beat Moreno a couple times.
Figgy, and then I think Whitaker is 11.
Poirier's
Poirier's 12.
12.
In my opinion.
13. Let's just say 15. Top 15.
13. I think that's where it's like. That's where Moreno should be.
I think Max should maybe be 15.
13. I think 13 is Moreno.
And Glover.
Glover's 14. Max is 15.
Yeah, I like that list.
Or Max. Glover and Max could just switch. Like either one, it's fine. But I like that list. I think that once Chimaev wins the belt, where do you think he's going to be?
Oh, if Chimaev wins the belt, he'll definitely be top 5.
I like Francis at 4. I just think that
he needs to fight.
He needs to fight more. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind him being.
If John Jones wins, he's
he's top
number
3.
1 or number
I don't know if he'd be number. Would he be actually?
I mean,
no, Islam. Islam would be number 1.
Yeah, Islam.
Islam is an easy number.
What happens to Volk when he loses to Islam? Is he number 2?
Out of the top 5.
Really?
Oh wait, no.
He's still champ at 145.
That is true, but I think that people are still gonna
maybe
because that's what pound for pound is about.
I mean, Aljo could be ahead of him.
Aljo's got to be in. What if Aljo beats Cejudo?
He'll be higher.
Dude, Aljo, if he beats Cejudo, you have to put him at 3 or 2. Like he's got to be. Aljo's so slept on, by the way.
He is slept on.
So slept on.
But it's kind of understandable because think about his last 2 wins. Like
I think
his win over Piotr. Like it was his rounds that he won were boring. Like he didn't do much.
So good. Like,
he's good.
So good.
But then his win over, TJ was so injured going into that, and he showed up for a payday.
He gets unlucky, Aljo.
Yeah, like he's getting unlucky.
Unlucky but lucky. You know what I mean? Like he's unlucky to not have.
He's lucky to be champ.
But he is. But at the same,
I understand it because he shouldn't have beat Piotr.
But at the same time, I think he would have been able to beat Dillashaw if he wasn't hurt. That's kind of hurting his image to the fans.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree, but still
But he is lucky to be there. But still, I think his ability overall is top 3 pound for pound level because he doesn't have a weakness.
Do you think you could beat TJ Dillashaw in that situation?
Oh, I think anybody could. I think most people could. Dude has 1 arm.
I don't know. He's still probably pretty tough.
Yeah, but he's got.
He's got 1 arm.
He's that's so hard to.
Yeah.
You wrestle him.
You think you could beat Francis with 1 arm?
No, because Francis still has another arm.
Yeah.
He could still
punch you up, bro.
But no, dude, I think. It's going to be, I think the pound for pound list, how it'll change. I think when Glover wins, he'll be top 10.
Yeah.
I think.
Let's see. Which champions do we think we could beat with 1 arm? Do you think you could beat Francis in a wheelchair? Probably.
Yeah. At that point, yeah. I mean only the 125, 135.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
45.
I bet I could. No, I don't know if I could take out some of the 145ers. I don't know if Josh Emmett's got the right hand, he'd probably be able to beat me.
Josh Emmett, right hand.
Yeah.
But who do you think is going to be the champion in each division at the end of 2023?
I think it's got to be Islam. I think Volk, because I just don't know if anyone's going to be able to beat Volk next year.
No, not yet. 2024, someone's going to beat him.
I think 70 is going to be Hamzat.
85.
Because I think he'll be champion at 70 even if he moves up. I think he'll win 2 belts. So he'll still be champ. I think 85 is Whitaker. I really think so because Pereira is not going to be champ for too long. Like,
but do you think they're
going down easily by?
But why do they? What the UFC? If the UFC were smart, they would book Hamzat right away in March.
I just think Whitaker and Hamzat might not be till.
No, but what I'm saying is. You
book Hamzat for title.
Hamzat for March for a title fight in UK.
If you
and
want
then you book him again against Pereira.
Well, then he'll be champ. But I just know the UFC. And I feel like they fuck up all the time.
They're gonna do some dumb shit.
Yeah, they're gonna do something stupid. So I think Whitaker's gonna be the champ.
You think you think Adesanya can get? You don't think he's get the immediate rematch?
If Adesanya gets the immediate rematch, he'll lose.
Pereira's gonna be,
and then Whitaker will fight Pereira, and he'll beat Pereira.
But do you think Pereira's gonna fight 3 times next year?
Wait,
no, it's twice.
I
right?
fought twice.
Yeah,
I think he'll lose to Whitaker, and then maybe Hamzat will move up to fight him. So maybe he might be champ.
I think it's gonna be.
I think it's one of those two.
I think Hamzat's gonna be 70 and 85. That's my prediction.
I'd like that to happen.
I honestly think 70, 85. I think 205 is gonna be. I'm gonna say Magomed. I think
he gets another chance.
I think he gets another chance. I think he gets done against Glover.
He's not going to get it in his next fight.
I think he's going to fight Jan again. I think he's going to beat Jan. Because I think he's going to come in a little bit different. He's going to come in calmer. It's not going to be
It's not going to wrestle more.
It's not going to be a pay-per-view. I think that caused a lot of pressure to him, and I think he really didn't fight like how he always fights.
He didn't wrestle enough.
Yeah, and I think he's just a bit more reckless in that fight. You know what I mean? I think the pressure really got to him. It was when sometimes people with pressure, they handle it differently. Mm-hmm. Some guys are just more crazy with it, and I think that's kind of what happened with him. I think he was very reckless. And
you think Yuri's coming back in 2020?
No, I don't think so. I think 2024. Yeah. And I think Magomed's gonna beat Jan on a fight night.
I think Yuri's coming back. Yuri's the kind of guy to recover.
You think in 2023?
Yeah.
Damn.
I think he's going to come back December.
Do you think he's going to win the title, though?
I think he beats Magomed.
You think he beats Magomed?
Dude, I don't know. I mean,
Magomed
was
not that.
I don't know if he beats Magomed.
He was not that. Didn't look.
He wasn't that great.
But that was also, I think, there's a lot of.
Jan's leg kicks. I mean, Yuri doesn't have those leg kicks.
Do you think Yuri beats Jan?
Yuri is better than Jan on his back.
But do you think Yuri beats Jan?
I think Jan on his back was dog shit.
Jan is terrible wrestling overall.
Yeah.
But do you think Yuri beats Jan?
I think he has a good chance.
I think that's a weird fight.
It's so hard to pick anyone to beat Jan in the stand-up because he's really just got good boxing.
But Glover, that matchup made
Glover's a good wrestler.
Great wrestler. I mean, we said he was a top 5 grappler.
Glover's UFC. I just don't think Glover can be champ for that long.
He's just so strong, though. You know what I mean? His grappling is so good.
Yeah,
it's amazing grappling. But I think it'll be Magomed. That's my prediction. But heavyweight, dude, I want to say John Jones so badly.
What about what do you think of heavyweight? I think Ngannou's still gonna. I think you know what?
Is he gonna fight again?
I think it's gonna be. Dude, it could be Pavlovich.
Ooh.
Because what if Pavlovich fights Gane?
He's gonna knock out Gane.
I think he knocks him out.
Knocks him out badly.
Even though I think I might want Gane to win, but
I'd want Pavlovich.
Yeah, that'd be lit.
That'd be fun. That'd be lit. Against Francis.
Heavyweight's so hard to pick. I think heavyweight's the hardest one.
It's just because there's so much variables.
So many guys.
There's Francis. Is Francis gonna come back? Is John Jones gonna come back? You know what I mean?
Jones.
You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say it's gonna be John Jones. I'm actually gonna say.
I don't think John Jones beats Francis.
I think he beats Francis.
Here's the thing. John Jones' last performance was the one who showed up against Reyes.
But
he didn't look good against Reyes.
But you got to remember,
he's just older now.
In terms of that division, he lost focus. He lost his motivation. So he wasn't training as hard. He was underestimating all of his opponents.
But even if he does have focus, what if he can't take Francis down?
I think he's going to be able to, regardless. Then he'll be like Gane. He'll do a Gane.
But Stipe, who out wrestled DC, and Stipe's a big guy. Stipe could take Francis down.
Yeah, but
Francis stuffed him like he was nothing.
I don't know if Francis will be able to hit Jones. That's another variable because Jones is one of the least hit fighters ever.
I think so, but the thing is, Jones is not like a Cyril Gane level of defense.
Oh, and a level of striking. I agree with you on that.
Jones might be hard to
hit. But I think he's quicker.
But I think But here's the reason why he's so hard to get hit. At light heavyweight, he's so long. He puts out his hands. When Jones is fighting these heavyweights, those guys have similar reaches, and they're not worried about the power that's coming at them. Like, these guys get in front of Jones at light heavyweight, and he's a big guy. Like, he's long, he's big, he's intimidating. Heavyweight, I don't think guys are that intimidated by him, and that's the thing. Like, I think they'll be able to hit him. Like, he got touched up by Reyes, you know? But I think Francis, if he can't take Francis down, Francis is fucking fast on the feet.
But not like that level. Like, Jones is going to have a huge speed advantage. But, like, just think of how much...
I don't know, though. He's slow. I feel like he's going to be slower.
Yeah, but we got to think, like...
got all this new weight on him.
Look at the difference between divisions in terms of speed. When people come up in divisions, there's a huge speed difference.
For sure.
But in heavyweight and light heavyweights, a bigger gap in terms of
but I also think it's a bigger gap in terms of
strength and
weight.
power. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I think Ngannou's a natural heavyweight.
Oh, I think that the wrestling, like, Jones is also a freakishly strong wrestler. That's what you got to remember. Like, we talk about Khabib and Islam. These guys are strong as fuck. That's Jones too. Jones is that strength too.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
Remember what he
did
to DC?
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely a beast,
dude. His
but, like,
strength is.
It's just a different. But I also look.
He also doesn't go for as many takedowns. It's a little like it's different style. Like Khabib and Islam, that's their bread and butter. They're wrestling. Yeah. Jones. Amazing wrestler, but he'll maybe shoot a couple times. That's it.
Yeah, and when he gets it, it works. It's just like when he's wrestling DC's like short, stocky, and he's a little older.
That is fair.
John, Ngannou is just like Ngannou to me is just a freak. Like, I just feel like if that guy spends a whole training camp stuffing takedowns, I feel like it's easy for him to connect with Jones's chin than it is Shogun. And I just think he'll walk him down, stuff a takedown, and just knock him out. Like, I would pick that to happen 100 out of 100.
What if Jones
not 100 out of 100?
Down?
If Jones takes him down, then he could definitely win that fight.
He's gonna gas him out, and
I think he'll TKO.
Or submit him.
I think
or
that's
maybe
possible.
You don't submit Francis.
I would go with Francis. I'd bet money on Francis.
KO.
I'd bet him to win on.
Do you think the division would be better if Francis doesn't come back?
Yes.
That's what I was.
I think no, that's not true. I think Francis needs to come back to fight Jones.
But the thing about Francis, we got to remember, he never fights.
If Francis fights, yes, but it's important that he comes back at least one more time.
I guess.
I think having Francis out for a long time, one more time, it's worth it if he at least fights.
What
Jones.
if he beats Jones? That makes
he beats
worse.
Jones, and that's the thing.
But then he hurts his knee.
But the thing is, if he hurts his knee and beats Jones, at least we saw the Jones fight. That's worth.
True.
That's worth us waiting.
That's the biggest fight.
I'm cool with waiting another fucking year.
By the way, that pay-per-view does $1 million.
Yeah, that does $1 million.
Or close.
That does the most buys out of anyone outside
anything
of
that's not Conor.
Yeah.
That we were talking about Islam versus Charles.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be champ at feather?
We forgot.
We did flyweight, which was Moreno.
We didn't say. I don't think we did that.
Oh, well, who do you think is going to be champ?
I think Moreno.
What about bantamweight? That's the one we did.
I think Aljo.
You think Aljo? What happens if Petr Yan rematches Aljo? Who do you think wins that?
I don't think it's ever going to come.
You don't think Yan is ever going to get there?
Dude, not when Aljo is still around. I think Aljo is close to moving up or retiring. I honestly do think he's close.
I think he's close.
I think he's going to fight. He's going to beat Cejudo.
Jan's still young.
Jan's still young.
I think he's going to be a champion.
There's a real chance he's a champion. But I also think there's a real chance he leaves the UFC.
Nah, not now. Unless he gets another bullshit robbery. But
I don't think they're going to do him like that.
He's won his last fight. Like, I think it's so sad that he's in this position because he literally beat O'Malley.
Yeah. I mean, the more time goes by, I don't have as much of a problem with the decision.
Same. I mean, I understand.
You know what I mean? Especially after seeing Patty. What happened with Patty, I have less of a problem with it. But in terms of just like the 35-pound division, I think Aljo has a real chance to be the bantamweight GOAT this year.
Yeah. If he wins,
I think he beats Henry Cejudo, dude.
If he beats Henry, he's probably.
Dude,
it's just kind of weird.
He's got a weird career though.
Yeah,
you know, because like he beat TJ Dillashaw, but he didn't beat like a legit.
If he beats Cejudo and then O'Malley, he's the GOAT.
Oh, by far. But I think he moves up after that.
There's no chance. You think he's gonna move up before he faces O'Malley?
After. I think he's. I think he's gonna beat Henry, O'Malley, and then he's gonna move up.
Probably.
He's gonna be like Marab. You can try to win.
Probably.
That's the plan.
Dude, Marab as champion would be the worst.
He's not.
Thing.
Like, yeah, he's not gonna win. He's not gonna beat a Petr Yan or Corey. He would get smoked by Corey Sandhagen. Honestly. By Sandhagen? Honestly, I don't know about Sandhagen.
Sandhagen, he might beat.
Maybe take him down. Chito Vera.
Who you picking in the Chito Sandhagen?
Oh yeah, you want to break that down?
Let's do it. We don't have much time.
I wanted to break this down as a new fight: Chito Vera versus Corey Sandhagen. When I found out this news, I was so happy.
It's a great fight.
This is a great fight. Fight of the year written all over it. I'm picking Corey Sandhagen. I think he's gonna win by decision. I think Chito Vera just won't find the knockout punch. I think there could be moments where he hurts Sandhagen, but I don't think it's going to be enough to drop him or maybe drop him once. But I think to do enough damage to finish him or to like do enough damage to the point where like he to the judges he won the fight. But I just think Sandhagen's going to have too much to offer. I think he's going to beat up Chito bad.
Yeah, the thing is Sandhagen's had struggles with like guys like Jan, even Song Yadong on the feet, but like these guys are so much more athletic, explosive, and fast.
And they threw more volume.
Yeah, they threw more volume. Whereas Marlon Vera, I feel like he catches you at weird moments. He catches you when you're like pulling out, trying to get out of the way of something. And he catches you in these weird moments where there's not that much action. He'll land a big strike. I just don't think that Sandhagen will get hit by those shots.
Because he doesn't get hit by shots.
He gets hit by like explosive bursts and good combinations, like with good boxers. And I don't think he's going to get hit by these like big kicks and anything. And there's a chance that if Vera lands like a big head kick, then he'll knock him out.
It's a real chance.
But there's always a chance in that happening. So like
Vera's got great kicks.
Vera's dangerous and he has good defense. He gets hit a lot. But
does he have good defense? Because
well, the thing is, here's the thing. He has good defense insofar as not getting KO'd. He has good KO defense. He doesn't have good defense. Here's the thing. What he does, he keeps his chin down. He gets hit on the forehead. But I feel like Corey Sandhagen's just going to win on point.
But what if like he does? You say that
he has good cardio too.
When Sandhagen does a lot of knees, that's going to open up a lot of knees for him.
That could open up a lot.
You know what I mean? And I think
there's a finish. Sandhagen's. I think it's a decision.
I think decision.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to beat up Font for pretty much 5 rounds. No, Font. He's going to beat up Chito for 5 rounds.
But the thing is, Font was beating up Chito early.
That's true.
He landed like 200 strikes.
He landed 200 strikes. And imagine if that was Corey Sandhagen, though.
But the thing is, Font's a better boxer than Sandhagen. He's a better output.
But
he doesn't Sandhagen's tough.
Sandhagen is tougher.
Way tougher.
And he's harder to hit. And this other thing is that he has more different, more in his arsenal. Like, he can throw knees, throw kicks.
We're going to find out how good Piotr Jan is in this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, I think Peter Yan beats Chito.
Yeah, I think Piotr Jan. How do you think? Honestly, I think O'Malley beats Chito. There's just always a chance. Like I can't bet on the knockout. He knocked out Cruz, who's not that great.
Knocked out
Edgar, who's Edgar. Font was decent, but
he landed 200 strikes.
That's
on
the thing. He's like, he gets hit so much.
He's hittable, and I think that he's very I think he's super overrated. I think
he is dangerous. You got to give him that. Like that's.
But
what
is he just so dangerous against these like old guys?
You know, he reminds me of a bantamweight Yoel Romero. Because he's so tough.
That's a good.
And he doesn't throw that often. But when he does throw and he lands big.
And he lands well.
Yeah,
he lands clean.
Yeah.
Like
so that's the thing. Like
sharp.
There's always a chance. But like Yoel is just a little bit.
Wait.
Yeah.
You also can't wait with a guy like Sandhagen. You just can't. He's too dangerous. He's got so much in his arsenal. And he's gonna land like
he's good at hurting people.
You saw what he did to Song Yadong. You know what I think? I think Song Yadong beats Chito Vera.
He could.
Didn't they already fight? I think he already beat
him. But that was a little bit of a robbery. They did fight.
I think they fight again. He beats him.
He's better now.
He's just better now.
Chito Vera is the dangerous part. He's like, I don't think he's finishable, especially against a guy.
You're not going to finish, but Jose
he's
Aldo.
So dangerous for 5
Jose Aldo beat him too.
Aldo beat him.
There's just matchups against Chito that I think are terrible for him. I think all these top guys.
Chito Vera is like the most overrated guy in the top 5.
Dude, I don't think he beats a single guy in the top 5. I don't think he does.
Yeah.
Like who in the top 5 do you think could you confidently say he beats? I don't think he beats Merab.
No.
I don't think
he beats O'Malley. I think O'Malley
honestly, no, I actually do think he beats Merab. I think he knocks out Merab. I know Merab's tough, but he's been a bit shitty a little bit. That is a good point.
And even Cruz was taking down Chito, and Cruz he has good wrestling, but it's not like really Merab level.
I could also see Merab just getting clipped.
I could see that happen.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I head kick, he opens himself up for that a lot.
Yeah.
So I could maybe see him beating Merab. No way against Jan. No way against Sandhagen. No way against Aljo. No way against Sean. He's not beating Sean if they fight.
I think Sean's just more skilled than he was back then.
Dude,
and that was a lucky win.
Lucky, dude. Imagine what Sean would do to him.
Yeah.
Imagine what Sean would do to him. Sean would just beat him up for 5 rounds. Bad. He'd have like an incredible performance. But you know what? I think the UFC is doing this. The UFC is really smart about this. This is what I'm going to say the UFC is smart about. This fight, like this sets up perfectly for Sean O'Malley regardless. Because whether the O'Malley versus Chito fight works no matter what, which is the good thing. Because Sean, like if he loses against Aljo, if he loses against Henry, whoever, if we're assuming that Sandhagen is also going to beat fucking Vera,
Yeah.
that fight works then.
Yeah.
The fight works if Chito beats fucking Sandhagen.
Yeah.
O'Malley is still next in line.
Yeah.
O'Malley wins the belt.
I just wish that they made that fight now, like, because I feel like we'll never see it.
Dude, that fight's gonna happen. I'm so confident.
But it won't be as big if like Cheeto's not on this big win streak.
But like at the same time, like if Sean wins the belt, Chito beats Sandhagen, that fight's happening right away. That's his first title defense. If Sean loses, Chito goes for the belt. He loses. He'll probably lose to Aljo or something. Then that's the fight to make. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that fight's gonna happen at some point, which I'm super excited about. Yeah, I wish it would have been sooner, you know, because now is a perfect time. Besides the fact that he just beat Peter Yan, the #1 guy. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a weird. So he should be waiting around. That's what O'Malley should do. That's a smart thing to do. Wait around, work a little bit on his wrestling. I don't think his wrestling is going to improve that much in that little time, versus guys who are like been wrestling their whole life. You know what I mean? But I think he should wait around. You know, let Chito beat a guy who's a legit guy in Corey Sandhagen, which I don't think he will beat. But by the way, Sonny Adon, I think Sonny Adon could be a future champ.
He could be. He was really good against.
Good.
He may have taken 2 rounds.
He was very good.
Yeah,
I just think
if he won that 5th round, if they didn't stop it, he would have won the fight.
Maybe it was very close, but I think he's young, so he still has a lot to work on.
Yeah.
I think his boxing is very good. His power is very good. I think also Umar Nurmagomedov, I think, has the potential to be a champion. He isn't, in my opinion, he's not as good as Islam or Khabib.
Mm-hmm.
I think Usman is also one of those guys who are like legit. Umar, I think, is a little bit worse in my opinion. He's still 15-0 though, and I think he's still
great. He's a great striker.
Great striker. Yeah, I think in terms of
he's
the grappling,
fighting soon. I think he's gonna fight on that Imavov card.
Really, I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see.
I think he's fighting Tim Elliott. He's fighting.
Really?
Yeah,
that's a good match.
Wait, no, that's a 125er.
That's one. I wanted, before we ended it, if we have one more time, I want to see the guys who you're most excited to fight in 2023.
That I'm most excited to fight, or to see fight.
See fight.
I'd say Jones, Chimaev. I would say Robert Whittaker. I would really want to see Whittaker fight. I want to see O'Malley fight, and I think that I really want to see
Shavkat.
I'm excited to see him, but I'm not that excited.
I want to see Usman's return.
Oh, I'm excited to see
Pereira.
Damn, I guess.
Look, I don't love Pereira.
I'm like
I don't love him. You know,
I'm not the biggest fan. I like seeing him like beat
Izzy. Yeah.
Usman, those are the guys I want to see.
I want Colby.
I'm excited.
That's who I mean, but is he gonna come back though?
I don't know.
I mean, for me, Chimaev,
Fiziev. I want to see Fiziev.
Fiziev is a good one. Chimaev, Shavkat, Fiziev. Who else? What's his name? Conor. Jones. If he does come, I mean, I think will end up because it's now or never. So I think it's gonna happen. Who else? Shavkat. I said. I want to see Usman, how he looks in his return. Mm-hmm. So I'm very curious. I want to see how Izzy looks in his return. I'm curious to see like how these guys will recover from those brutal finishes. Chimaev, of course. Armin Sarukian. I'm excited to see him fight again. Who else? Robert Whittaker, as always. Always, whenever Whittaker fights, that's the one I'm.
Maybe Yuri. Yuri might be coming.
Cyril Gane. I'm
excited to see Anthony Smith.
No, also Sergey Pavlovich.
Pavlovich.
I'm excited for his fight. That's a guy who's like that's the new heavyweight who's entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
You know, Pavlovich. Who else? I mean, like Jamal Hill versus. I'm excited for that fight, but I think
it's gonna be a war.
You think it's actually gonna be a war?
Yeah,
I think he's gonna get submitted.
I think he's gonna get submitted, but I think he might hurt Glover. Glover gets hurt in a lot of these fights.
But dude, it may be like a quick finish. I don't think
could be.
Jamal Hill.
I'm gonna pick Glover to finish him in the second round.
Yes, that's my prediction. I want to see Anthony Smith win because it's so much better for the sport than like an old Glover. You know what I mean? But at the same, because a Jamal Hill versus Yuri fight would be amazing. Jamal Hill versus Magomed fight would be amazing.
Yeah.
Jamal Hill versus Jan, those are all really good fights. Then Glover against those guys isn't that entertaining. So yeah, no, I'm picking a second round finish, but I could also see Jamal Hill clipping him and finishing him early on. To be honest, I just don't know if his grappling is like advanced enough to really handle those guys. a wrestler like a grappler like Glover. But in terms of more guys, I'm looking forward to fighting again. I want to see Sean O'Malley fight again.
That's
I'm
gonna
excited.
be excellent.
Henry Cejudo, I'm excited
Aljo,
to see. Aljo.
and Cejudo.
Dude, I really started liking Aljo a lot more. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He really grew on me. Peter Yan, I'm excited to see again.
Very excited to see him fight.
Aljo?
Yeah, no, Piotr Jan and Aljo.
Because I want to just see how Peter Yan
Looks after these
comes back after these two really disappointing
losses.
You know what I mean? If his style will change, because I think he should.
I want to
change
see
his style.
Pimblett and Conor fight. I want to see Conor.
I want to
fuck
see
him
that.
up.
I'm excited to see Pimblett fight again.
Yeah.
Because I want to see him get smoked. Because I think Charles Oliveira is a guy who I want to see. I want to see how he recovers. His whole comeback this year, which is going to be great. I mean, I think that's about it. But guys, great show, great in person podcast. You guys want to see more? Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, comment. It's been a pleasure. Happy New Year.
Until next time, guys. Happy New Year. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Have a good one.